Salford boss Carl Robinson speaking there. I mean, it is a bit of a mini Manchester derby, this game, isn't it, Neil? There's vested interest from a lot of the class of 92, as we know, involved in Salford. They got battered 8-0 last year by City in the FA Cup. What kind of threat can they pose today?
Well, look, the longer it goes 0-0, the more confidence they'll grow in the game. And the more chance they'll get. And it's not unheard of, to someone in the lower divisions going to a big club and getting a result. But it's a big ask. It's a big ask. It's a Man City side that's playing with confidence and that's a massive favourite. But I just think for Salford City, it does represent the red part of Manchester. I would suggest, because of the connections with Manchester United. So they want to put performance on, and they'll want to make sure that they leave a mark on this game, which is not an 8-0 defeat.
In his press conference, Carl Robinson made the point that Salford in the league, domestically, they're used to having most of the possession, keeping the ball. How difficult is it to that they're obviously not going to have that today? How difficult is it to make that transition when you're so used to being comfortable in possession?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm just thinking back to my time in the Premier League, and I've played for sides that have been fighting to stay in the division, Bradford City, Charlton Athletic, Barnsley, and to play without the ball's tough. It's a funny thing to say, but it's been patient, been switched on to what the opposition does, being football bright, knowing the spaces you can go into and attack, offering a threat, because if you don't offer a threat, these sides just come onto you and steamroll you. So they've got to offer some sort of threat today, Salford, just to keep them right, Manchester City. So, but it's a tall order, but they'll be playing with confidence. They're up there in the league. They're getting results in the league. I've seen them 2 or 3 times this season, and I've always been impressed with them. Good raiding, they get forward well. They break from the shape really quickly. They've got pace in wide areas, so they could offer a little bit of a problem for City.
Yeah, look, they're sixth in League Two. They're 3 points clear into the playoffs. They've only suffered 2 defeats in the last 13 games over the last 10 weeks, albeit both of those losses have come in the last 3 league outings. But you'd think, Dance, that they can come into this with an element of confidence. They've got some familiar household names. We had Fabio Borini scored against City in the Premier League. I know that things haven't gone their way previously against Premier League sides in this competition, but you'd think there's plenty of reason to hope with the FA Cup magic something can happen today. Well,
as I mentioned, there's not many players out there today for Salford who you could accuse of being scarred by the events of last year. It's only 2, and that's the keeper Matthew Young, who had 8 pushed past him, and Luke Garbett, who's a vastly experienced defender, came through the Everton Academy. Other than that, the 9 players starting today have got nothing to do with the game last year. So there's no horrible memories for them to think back on. I know Carl Robinson's had them training on an extended size pitch at the training ground to sort of, combat the fact that they're on this big wide surface at the Etihad. I think he started watching the 8-0 back and turned it off about halfway through. He'd had enough. It just did his head in having to recreate the murder again, as it were. So I think he's just trying to dispel all those horrid memories. And you've got players out there like Graydon, as Neil has mentioned. You've got Alfie Dorrington, who's a very promising young centre-half on loan from Spurs. Longhello, who Neil knows well, plays on the wide right-hand side. Has got very good pace. There are 1 or 2 players out there that might cause Manchester City a few problems as the players are on the way out now, Max.
Absolutely. Look, this is, as we always say, the FA Cup. Anything can happen. I mean, you talk about, we've heard Neil talking earlier about trying to keep the game going on as long as possible if you're Salford City, to give you an opportunity. We saw that between Burton and West Ham, 0-0 at full time. It's gone to extra time, but Crescencio Somerville has stopped that massive cup upset. It's just finished 1-0 at Burton Albion. So West Ham through to the next round. We expect City to be getting to a 5th round again under Pep Guardiola, but you just never know in the FA Cup. A reminder that Adrian Durham is over on Talksport 2 Game Day Live, covering all the games including Burnley and Mansfield, Southampton and Leicester, plus a classified results service at 5:15. Later on Talksport, Aston Villa host Newcastle in the FA Cup 4th round before the late kick-off. Liverpool Brighton at 8 o'clock. But right here on Talksport, it's Manchester City and Salford. So let's head over to the Etihad for that in the company of former Leeds manager Neil Redfern and your match commentator Ian Danter.
Thank you, Max, and a very good afternoon to you wherever and however you're listening to Talksport 2 as we are about to bring you what is our 300th live football commentary across the Talksport network this season already, and we're just getting started. Well, there must be feelings of deja vu in the away end here at the Etihad for supporters of Salford City, who were only here 13 months ago for their debut visit. That was in round 3 of last year's FA Cup, although they were on the receiving end of an 8-0 defeat to Manchester City that day as Pep's men went on to reach the final. Well, the nature of League Two football in its regular squad upheaval with short-term contracts means that only 2 of Carl Robinson's starting 11 from that 8-0 loss are in the team today. The Citizens have already handed out a crushing victory in round 3 this year against Exeter last month, becoming the first team since Spurs in 1960 to score 10 or more in a single cup tie. Pep Guardiola does make a raft of changes from their midweek win over Fulham, 9 in all, but it's still a very strong side indeed. The headline news is John Stones returning to the starting 11, his first start since early December. His last FA Cup tie was the final against Manchester United, getting on for 2 years ago. James Trafford is in goal for City. Abdelkader Kuzanov, John Stones, Max Allain and Ryan Ait-Nouri are the back four. Rico Lewis, Nico Gonzalez and Tijani Reinders are the midfield 3. Phil Foden, Omar Marmoush and Ryan Cherki up top. The likes of Erling Haaland and Bernardo Silva get the day off. The bench is Donnarumma, Diaz, Guehi, Rodri, Nunes, O'Reilly, Semenyo, Makaidu and Samba. As for Salford City, they've only lost 2 of their last 13 in the League 2 playoff zone. They lost last time out, though, at home to Accrington Stanley. Carl Robinson makes 3 changes, not as many as he might have intimated to Alan Brazil and Gabby Agbonlahor on breakfast in the week. Out go Turton, Butcher and Udo all to the bench. In comes Zach Orr for his first start for the club. Josh Osterfield also comes in midfield. And also Thomas Cooper is fit to play at the back as well. Brandon Cooper, rather, should I say. So the lineup, it looks like a 3-1-5-1. We'll wait and see. Matthew Young, the keeper. Brandon Cooper, Alfie Dorrington and Luke Garbett in the back 3. Zach Orr probably sitting just in front of that 3. Ross Longello, Ben Woodburn, Josh Osterfield, George Grant and Kelly and Nye in behind Ryan Graydon in attack. And on the bench, Howard, Ashley, Turton, Stockton, Barini, Butcher, Udo, Ehi Batchaman and Siri. Our referee today is Matt Donoghue. Salford in a little bit changed strip of white with little tinges of black and red just to wind up the locals here, I'm sure. Manchester City in the traditional sky blue shirts and socks with white shorts, and they will get us underway on Talksport 2 for this 4th round FA Cup tie. City attacking the south stand to our right in this first period as we sit, Neil and I, at the back of the bottom tier of the Colin Bell stand here at the Etihad, with the family stand that's under a bit of extension work away to our left-hand side. Ball's out the left-hand side with Ryan Ait-Nouri. Plays a short pass into the feet of Ryan Cherki and gets it back. Goes into the centre circle and Rico Lewis just gives a bit too much of that in terms of show to Josh Osterfield. And away down the left-hand side goes Kelly and Mai, but he's well dispossessed by Omar Marmoush, who's hurt himself in winning that challenge, but will slowly get back to his feet. And City have possession with Ait-Nouri once again on the far left-hand side. Cherki just inside his own half. Marmoush just limping back into position, trying to run off whatever it was that happened to him when he made that challenge. Ait-Nouri again knocks it back to the halfway line for John Stones. And now Rico Lewis picks it up off the back 4, but Osterfield closing down the space. Tall, rangy midfielder Josh Osterfield. We're a minute and a half in on Talksport 2 in the FA Cup. West Ham have beaten Burton Albion just in the lunchtime kick-off. A Crescencio Somerville goal in extra time, seeing Nuno Espirito Santo's side through. Stones making his first start since December. That familiar languid stride of his as he gets into the centre circle. Plays a short pass with Lewis. City have kept possession pretty much exclusively since the whistle blew.
Yeah, just looking at their shape though, Dance, Salford, it's a back five with a real narrow four in front and one up top. So it's a mid-block, it's not really deep, so not denying space, but they're letting City play across the front of them and around them, and just keeping the shape from at the moment.
Kuzanov playing it right back today, gets crowded out, and Mai tries to slide it down the left-hand touchline for Graydon. There's going to be a yellow card here for the challenge by Kelly and Mai. An early yellow card for the Salford number 10 for a slightly injudicious challenge on this near touchline.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it back on the screens there, Dan. There's no malice in it, it's just a clumsy challenge, but it's a painful one.
Well, Elaine is back on his feet, and it will be a free kick for Phil Foden to send in from the left-hand side. He's not sent it into the box. Actually, nobody from Manchester City went anywhere near the 18-yard line. It was a good 20 yards inside Salford territory. MK Dons lead Newport County in League 2 this afternoon. 5 unbeaten Milton Keynes and Aaron Collins has given them the lead. City down the left-hand side, getting into the defensive third of Salford for the first time this afternoon. Work back to Ryan Cherky at the left-hand corner of the penalty area. Faced up by George Grant. Has to go out to the left-hand side, and that's good, strong work down that right-hand side by Ben Woodburn, the former Liverpool youngster, and he's won Salford a free kick in their right-back area. 0-0, Neil Redfern.
Yeah, good start from Salford, very patient, look really organised in the back five and that midfield four, quite narrow, going after the ball when it gets close to the areas that they're in. I think from City's point of view, it's amazing. They've obviously come up against sides that have done this to them, you know, hundreds of times, and they've got themselves set in that shape where they can rotate the ball, switch it out. They're looking for the little narrow 8 runs from in to out to get in behind full-back positions and double up in them areas. Seen that so many times with Pep's sides. But at the moment, they're standing firm, Salford.
Young takes the goal kick, and Graydon manages to keep it in play on the dead ball line on the far side, but showed too much of that to the Man City defence. Although it's given away. Kelly and Mai, right-hand corner of the area, tries to poke it through to the edge of the area where Osterfield had made a run, but it's won back by Nico Gonzalez. Cherky calmly rolls it back to Ait Nouri, and it will go along the back line to Abdulkadir Kusanov. Elaine playing it right back today then. Switched it round, so Kusanov and Stones are the two centre-halves. Lewis plays it out left to Ait Nouri, bang on halfway for Manchester City. Gonzalez plays a short 1-2 with Lewis. Little run down the left-hand side by Reinders. He touched it to keep it in play. It looked offside, but there's no VAR today to check on that. City have kept possession. Cherky, 30 yards from goal. Little step over from him, works his way infield, and then passes right for Elaine, who scored his first Manchester City goal in that 10-1 rout against Exeter here in round 3. Now Ait Nouri gets down the left-hand side of the area, pulls it across the face of goal, it goes all the way in. Now, did that get a touch on its way through? They're all running to Ryan Ait Nouri. It's not taken Manchester City long to hit the front, just over 5 minutes. And Ryan Ait Nouri got away down the left-hand side of the area, smacks it low and goalwards, and I don't think it took a touch off anybody. Beat Young, nestled in the bottom corner, and Manchester City are off and running nice and early. Manchester City 1, Salford City 0.
Yeah, just looking at it again, great overlapping run down the left-hand side where they've caused a problem. It's an own goal, I think.
Yeah.
I think he gets touched in his own net. I don't know if it's Osterfield that's recovering. Yeah, it's definitely an own goal. Can't see it from here, but I mean, it's too easy for City to get in them positions. They'd be frustrated with that, Salford, because they've started quite well. You know, just looking at them, looking over to the bench, the manager, Carl Robinson, looking for a bit of assurance. One thing you don't want to do is go a goal down early on against this Man City side.
Yeah, the touch at the near post, definitely wrong-footed. Matt Young.
Yeah, he got caught coming, didn't he, for the cross that just deflected in.
And so Manchester City are in front. Here's Foden trying to slide through Marmouche, right-hand side of the area. He's up against the challenge of Zach Orr. Got the better of him, holds on to it, works it back to Elaine. Then infield to Foden. Work back to the halfway line and Kuzanov. Dundee 1, Livingston 0 in Scotland this afternoon. One of 3 Scottish Premiership games.
just looking at the wide ones, Dance, here, as soon as they get in that final third, they're in that sprint position, ready to go in behind the opposition's back line. And the quality is so good on the ball that they can find the run. Really difficult to mark.
Salford have got 9 outfield players behind the ball. They've left Ryan Graydon up on the halfway line just to keep the 2 Manchester City centre halves back, to keep the numbers down a little bit from those in sky blue shirts piling forward. Lewis, centre of the Salford half, plays it to his left for Gonzalez and out to Ait Nouri. Further down the left-hand side of the box for Foden, gives it back to Ait Nouri. Got his socks rolled down in his traditional fashion. Bradford City 1, Peterborough 0 in League One this afternoon. Bradford lost 4 out of their last 5, but they lead through Bobby Poynton. And Shrewsbury leads Swindon after 4 straight wins. Shrewsbury go ahead at the Greenhouse Meadow. Goal from Ivan Morgan. And Alfie Dorrington has been credited with the own goal, but I'm not sure whether that was on target from Ryan Ait Nouri.
No.
In any sense, he was the player that created it all down the Manchester City left. That's why it's Manchester City 1, Salford 0 with 8 minutes gone on Talksport 2.
Yeah, he definitely deflected in. I just look at City now, they're so comfortable in possession. It's like they relax the opposition into the shape. They don't go chasing after it. But as soon as you're in that relaxed position, there's no pressure on the ball. They start picking passes. They start coming undone as an opposition. That's what's happened to...
Offside flag goes up against Kelly and Mike. And it will be a free kick to Manchester City just outside their own 18-yard box. Dundee 2, Livingston 0. Livy just having a horrible season up there in the Scottish top flight.
In again.
Now again down the left-hand side, but Cherky won't catch up with that. Young will clear out of play the Salford keeper, but it goes out for a throw to Manchester City, about 10 yards into Salford territory on the left-hand side, taken quickly. Gonzalez looking to clip the ball up to the edge of the area. Marmouche brings it down with his bat to goal, tees it back for a lane, gives it back to Marmouche, right-hand corner of the box. But he's been crowded out, goes back in field to the centre of the half, and Gonzalez, ref gets in the way. But it goes out via Ait Nouri to the left-hand side of Ryan Cherky. Longhello trying to close down the space. Cherky just backpedals for a moment, then plays a lovely little reverse ball to the left-hand corner of the box for Reinders. Guides it back out to Ait Nouri on the left-hand side. Manchester City just biding their time here. 1-0 up already in this FA Cup 4th round tie. Cherky just dipping infield, drops the shoulder, gets up to the edge of the area, tries to play at 1-2 with Reinders, didn't come off. But Salford can't get it clear, Neil.
No, I mean, it's exceptional now, the overload. The opposition, they get 3 and 4 around the ball, little 1-2 touch, move the ball quickly, then they find the space in the run. They're having a real problem with it at the moment, to be fair, Salford.
1-0 to City. Manchester City, that is. Out to the left-hand side it goes, and Ait Nouri clips it backwards to square infield to Gonzalez. Elaine was making a run down this near side, the right, but not used. Manchester City, I've got to make sure I say Manchester City, because there's 2 cities out there. Stones just over the halfway line, clips it through the middle for the runner. Marmouche, good brave goalkeeping from Young, came out to almost the edge of his penalty area to claim as it bounced just in front of him. 1-0 to Manchester City.
Yeah, he did ever so well there, to be fair. Matt Young just got his starting position right. So as the ball came forward, came onto it quickly, gathered nicely. Just need a little bit of momentum here, to be fair. Salford, 1 or 2 flurries in and around that Man City box, give him a little bit of confidence.
Well, here's Ryan Graydon down the right-hand side of the Manchester City box. He's won a corner. A Stones poked it behind. There's a bit of encouragement for the Salford fans away to our right-hand side as Ryan Graydon wins the corner. January signing after scoring 25 goals for Fleetwood Town. Did score 2 against Swindon in round 2 as well.
Yeah, it's what they need, isn't it, really? When you think about it, they've been in that set position, looking to defend and deflect and try and, deny Man City for the last, 10, 15 minutes, or 10 minutes. And when they break, they just need to offer some sort of threat. So City don't come onto them, Man City.
So Luke Garbutt's going to take this corner at the family stand end at the right wing. So a left-footed in swinger. Good delivery onto the 6-yard line. Nico Gonzalez heads away. Foden brings it down out the sky and might try to engage. And here come Manchester City on the counter-attack. And it's with Marmouche. Plays a square ball to pick out Cherky. Midway point of the Salford half just holds the ball up for a minute. Salford get white shirts back, and then the attempted pass threaded into the areas, deflected away. Now Salford have got everybody bar Graydon back behind the ball as Rico Lewis has it. Square ball for Stones. They're just leaving Graydon one-on-one with Kusanov on halfway now. Manchester City, they're happy to have Stones join in.
Yeah, and the other thing as well, they've got that many players around the ball dance, you know, that they can counter-press really quickly as well, and it's what they've been doing.
Barnsley 1, AFC Wimbledon 0. Neil's old club ahead through David McGoldrick. And the League One leaders, Cardiff, are in front against Luton Town through David Turnbull. Salford head clear. Offside flag goes up against Reinders anyway, who was pushing furthest forward in that move. So Salford have themselves a free kick.
Yeah, small victory for Salford. Kept the line well, held the line, then stepped up, let the runner go offside. It's good play. Gives them a chance to get up the pitch and have a breather.
Salford, 2 defeats in 13. They won 9 of those 13 to climb back to 6th in League 2. 5 points off Notts County in 3rd at the start of the day, with a game in hand. And their away record in League 2 this season is particularly good. 8 wins that they've got on their travels from the Peninsula. That's the 5th best record in League 2. But you would say the Etihad's a bit of a step up.
Well, the problem they've got at the moment is getting the ball.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Tranmere 1, Crawley 0. Awful run that Tranmere are on, 6 straight defeats, but Zeko Biro gives them the lead. And Chesterfield in the same division, League 2, are 1 up against lowly Harrogate, Lee Bonis. It's Manchester City under pressure as Salford come forward, but deflection works the host's way, and a lovely ball from Cherky to find Elaine, who can make strides into the Salford City half. Tries to roll it through for the run of Marmouche. Was he being held back by a combination of Orr and Cooper? Well, referee saw nothing wrong with that, and it goes straight through to Matt Young, the keeper.
Yeah, he's done quite well in these opening exchanges. Or, to be fair, he's picked up some good positions. He's tracked run as well. He's got his body in. He's athletic, you know, and he matches the runs. It's really important, his role today.
Yeah, Max Elaine, an academy graduate, had a loan at Watford last season just to give him some experience of real footballs. Managers like Neil Redfern would say.
That's what it's all about, mate.
Cleared away by James Trafford, getting a start today in the Manchester City goal. Donnarumma is on the bench. Ball would just drift away, and Mike couldn't go after it because he knew he was coming back from an offside position. Nico Gonzalez has it for Manchester City, just ahead of his own 18-yard line, then brings the ball up to the edge of the centre circle without being challenged. Flicks it backwards to square to Kusanov. Rochdale lead at Yeovil Town in the National League. Could we see Dale back in the Football League next year? Aidan Barlow with the goal down at Hewish Park. Manchester City have the ball out on the left-hand side. They lead Salford City by 1-0 with 15 minutes gone on Talksport 2. Number of more cup ties to come today. Don't forget we've got Newcastle, Aston Villa at tea time, and Liverpool Brighton at 8 o'clock, both on Talksport. What have you spotted, Neil?
Yeah, I was just saying, play's predominantly gone down this left-hand side, but Max Elaine's in such a great position high up on this right-hand side for the switch.
Here's Cherky trying to drive the ball across the face of goal as it suddenly broke to him inside the box, but the ball screws off across the face of goal and actually out of play on this near side for a Salford City throw-in right next to the corner flag. So he didn't quite have his radar in then, Rayan Cherky, but already 10 goals and 11 assists.
Yeah, he's been
since his arrival from Lyon.
He's been impressive, hasn't he, this season? You know, just his ability to get in and around the opposition's box quickly, you know, from distance. He covers the ground so quickly. His touch is so good, his awareness of people around him. And obviously his ability to finish as well, which has been really important for City this season.
Barnsley 2, AFC Wimbledon. There you go. Tom Bradshaw for the Tykes.
Go on.
You did say you fancied him early, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Even though, you know, no clean sheet in 13. Keep a clean sheet now, job's done.
All over.
Free kick to Manchester City as there's a bit of a pull 10 yards outside the Salford penalty area. So a chance for Manchester City, that is. See, I'm still doing it. To work the ball into the danger area.
I think they've actually done okay in these opening exchanges. They've not offered much of a threat going forward, Salford, but they've You know, the track runners are working hard, they're concentrating on what they're doing, they've got the distances right between the two units, the back five and the midfield four. You know, it's just trying to get some support to the lone striker, who does look very lonely at the moment.
Cherky standing over it. Just chipped the ball into the Salford City penalty area, bounces all the way through. Stones keeps it in play at the dead ball line, works it back to the left-hand corner of the box tonight, Nouri, but the flag's gone up for offside against a Manchester City player. It's a goal kick, a free kick to Salford. Yeovil have equalised against Rochdale at Hewish Park. Finn Cousin-Dawson with the equaliser. Livingston get a goal back at Dundee. That's now 2-1. And here on Talksport 2, we played 17 and a half minutes. Manchester City 1, Salford City 0.
Yeah, I think they're good value, City. I mean, they obviously had a lot of possession, you know, and I think maybe Salford's just dropped in and just allowed them that possession just to make it difficult for them and try and stay in the game. The early goals not helped their cause, but City look really, really comfortable at the moment. Manchester City.
So ball lofted forward for Graydon to flick on for Salford, and Meyer trying to pick up the pieces, but comfortably dealt with by Kusanov, and then clipped downfield, but Marmouche nowhere near that. Zach Orr making his first start for Salford City today. Will calmly bring the ball down and get it back. And Graydon now making tracks to the edge of the area. Osterfield went to go for goal. Was he clipped inside the area? Well, the referee says no penalty. There's a lane that went down. They both caught each other's feet, I think, as Osterfield went for the drive. They're both down hurt, both Josh Osterfield and Max Allain. But nothing's been given in terms of a free kick or a penalty. Just a coming together, Neil Redfern.
Yeah, I'm just looking back at it now. We've got the benefit of the small cameras round. Oh, he's kicked his own foot.
Yeah. Osterfield went to shoot with his left, but his right toe caught it as he was just setting to shoot, and then he's...
Yeah, it's a shame.
He's collided with his defensive opponent in Max Allain, but...
That's a chance.
Just opened up a little bit there, didn't it, Neil?
Yeah, that's a chance. I mean, it's good defending in the end. He shepherds him out. He's on his left foot there, Osterfield. I think he's really hurt himself. He's still down. But at least they're offering a little bit of a threat going forward, which is good.
Osterfield just sitting up now, so too is Allain. There will be a slight delay here. Just gives me a chance to remind you there's a whole host of live football coming up later today. Villa Newcastle from 5:45, then Liverpool Brighton follows on from 8 p.m. in the fourth round of the FA Cup, and then 4 more commentaries for you tomorrow, including our exclusive radio commentary, Arsenal against Wigan, and not forgetting Ian Danter versus Neil Redfern, Birmingham City against Leeds at lunchtime on Talksport tomorrow as well, from the Mecca of Midlands football that is St Andrews. But Neil Redfern fancies his side's chances.
Yeah, I do.
I can't get under his skin. I just can't do it. It's impossible. Preston lead Watford by 1-0 in the Championship. Lewis Dobbin for Preston, who got their first win in 6 last time out. And Falkirk lead Dundee United in the Scottish Premiership as well. Good season for the Bairns coming back into the Scottish Premiership. Now, Max Allain, I don't think he's going to be able to play any further part here.
No, he's got a bandage on his knee as it is anyway.
He's limping off. Just got accidentally caught by Osterfield as they both collided inside the penalty area. But Max Allain's game has lasted shy of 20 minutes and he's having to go off here.
Yeah, disappointing for the lad. Just looking at Pep there, driving standards, just barking orders at 1 or 2 of his players. You know, he wants more from them. That's one of the reasons why they're up there, challenging.
So it means that Ryan McKaidu is coming on from the bench. He played against Exeter in the previous round. So McKaidu from the City Academy is a straight swap. Or rather, he comes into right midfield and looks like Rico Lewis, Neil Redfern, is going to drop back into Allain's right back position here. 1-0 to Manchester City.
Yeah, they've kept the same shape roughly and just rotated 1 or 2 positions.
So McKaidu is on. But it's Stones in possession for the hosts. Out to the left-hand side of Knight Nouri, who's shot across the face of goal. Took a touch off Alfie Dorrington, wrong-footed the goalkeeper Matthew Young, and that's how Manchester City have their noses in front here as we approach the midway point of the first half here on Talksport 2. Kuzanov for the ball down the middle. Marmouche trying to stay onside, scores a beauty, but the flag had gone up. Cool, blimey, he caught that so sweet as the ball bounced. But the flag was already raised from the assistant on this near side. No goal, free kick to Salford City, 1-0 it stays.
Yeah, I just glanced at the referee there, and he was priming himself to put the flag up, which is a shame. It's a brilliant finish from Marmouche. I don't think 3 keepers would have saved that. That went right in the top corner. Great ball spotting, just timed his run a little bit too early.
Pep Guardiola whacking his finger at the assistant on this near side for Derry to put his flag up, but I think he's doing that quite cheekily more than anything else, as if, so how can you deny my striker a goal hit as beautifully as that? Now, an attempt from Ben Woodburn to bring the ball down. Is that a push by on Marmouche?
Yeah,
it was on Brandon Cooper.
Yeah.
FA Cup goal, Burnley lead Mansfield by a goal to 0 at Turf Moor. Josh Laurent putting the Clarets ahead at Turf Moor. Eastleigh 1, Boreham Wood 1 in the National League. And a free kick to Salford City inside the centre circle, just inside the Manchester City half of the field.
Yeah, just going to John Stone's watch. Very comfortable early exchanges.
Into the box it goes. Slightly awkward header clear from Kuzanov, but picked up by Makaidu. He'll just lay it back to Rico Lewis, further back to Trafford, controls it on his goal line and keeps it away from the advancing Ryan Graydon.
I tell you what, if he really goes with any urgency there, Graydon, he gets that.
Stones gliding down the field as he often does with the ball at his feet, plays it out left to Ait Nouri. 23 minutes gone, Manchester City 1, Salford City 0 on Talksport 2. Rico Lewis just ahead of the centre circle, finds Nico Gonzalez, thought about floating the ball forward, but everybody in sky blue come towards the ball. Nobody was making a run or attempting to make a run in behind. So out it goes to the left hand side, and Ryan Ait Nouri faced up by Longello. Back in field to Nico Gonzalez. He now tries to float a ball out to Makaido on this near side. Brings it down, but immediately set upon by Luke Garbett, the Salford captain, who did well, got it clear. And so Manchester City have to start again from inside their own half.
Yeah, they're comfortable doing that though, aren't they, Dan? So if you look at how they're set up, they're set up to sort of play and probe and prod and try and get runners in forward. As soon as somebody gets somebody on the ball in good control possession, they get 2 or 3 blue shirts round it. It's difficult to get it off them.
That's the voice of Neil Redfern, former Leeds United manager, with me, Ian Danta, on Talksport 2 at the Etihad Stadium. 24 minutes gone. Manchester City a goal to the good. Stones with a wonderful raking 60-yard crossfield pass to pick up Makaidu on this near side, the right. Threads it up to the edge of the area. Foden takes advantage of a ricochet, but it's volleyed away, but only straight back into the path of Ait Nouri. Then Gonzalez plays it up to the edge of the area. Cherky was just trying to turn it round the corner at the edge of the box. Makaidu slides in well to keep possession for Manchester City inside the Salford half. Ait Nouri goes out left to Cherky. Strong run to get on the outside of Longello, then one touch too many. It's gone over the dead ball line. Big game in League One today, second against third at Sincil Bank, and Lincoln lead Bolton by a goal to 0. 12 unbeaten under Michael Skubala. Myself and Neil were only at Sincil Bank the other week when they took Bradford to pieces.
Yeah, we're impressed, mate, weren't we?
Incredibly so. And Moylan, one of the impressive players in that Lincoln starting lineup, has the goal for the Imps. That's second against third, but Cardiff, the leaders, are also leading against 7th placed Luton. Goal kick for Salford City, a goal down here at the Etihad. Taken long downfield by Young, flicked on by Longello. Woodburn wants of Liverpool, tries to get the bits and pieces, and the second ball does break for Salford, but Longello tried to win a throw off a Manchester City player, and he does in the end just by protecting the ball out on that far side of the field. So it will be a throw to the Ammies just inside the Manchester City half of the field. We've got more live sport coming up for you on Talksport 2 straight after this commentary at 5. We're off to Jeddah for round 5 of the Formula E Grand Prix series. Pascal Wehrlein 16 points clear in the driver's standings. John Jackson, Lewis McLeod will be your commentary team for that Formula E race Our coverage starts at 5 once we're finished here at the Etihad, unless there's extra time, he says. You never know.
Well, it's still only 1-0, for all the play that Man City have had.
Here's Rico Lewis picking the ball at the edge of his own penalty area. Barnsley 2, AFC Wimbledon 1. The Dons back in it through Omar Bouguil. Boreham Wood 2-1 up at Eastleigh in the National League, and Dundee United equalise at Falkirk in the Scottish Prem. Ross Graham brought away down the right hand side by Luke Garbett, but he's run into a bit of traffic there on the far side for Salford City, and Foden has it back just on halfway, looking for Makaidu. Garbett gets a footed again to get it half clear for Salford. Lewis works it back in field for Foden. Foden spots the run of Ait-Nouri in a bit of space left hand side, brings the ball under control with his first touch into the box. Marmoush tried to control it with his back to goal, only half cleared. Nico Gonzalez takes a drive from 30 yards out, it deflected off a Salford boot and out for a corner kick at the south stand end to Manchester City, who lead 1-0.
Yeah, good play by City. Manchester City, just looking at Ait-Nouri, he's been a good foil for him down that left hand side. He's got forward really well, his touch is good, his distribution's been excellent.
So Foden's corner, where the Colin Bell meets the south stand, down to our right hand side. Left footed in swinger to come from Foden into the 6-yard box. Now Cherky's just made a run, but Mike comes out to spot it. He was running along the line to the right hand corner of the penalty area, offering himself up for a short corner option. And the end of corners floated in, volleyed away outside the box, but Manchester City keep the ball. It's back with Lewis on halfway. Cherky's gone back into his own half with him, and then he just waits Rico Lewis for Mike to get within 2 yards of him, and then passes back to his keeper Trafford. Stones now, as we approach the half hour at the Etihad on Talksport 2, finds Nico Gonzalez in the centre circle. Square ball for Stones, and back out to Ait-Nouri on the left hand side. Barnsley 2, AFC Wimbledon 2. What was I saying, Neil? Yeah, Omar Bouguil gets the second for himself and for AFC Wimbledon at Oakwell.
I tell you what, they've done really well here. So they blocked that central area off brilliantly. We've hardly seen Phil Foden on the ball. He's just waving his arms about there with frustration.
Here's Ait-Nouri, whose shot created the opening goal, driving for the byline. Just gets inside Woodburn, twisting and turning left hand side of the box, knocks it back in the end for an attempt maybe by Cherky, trying to roll his foot. The ball gets the shot away at the edge of the area, blocked at source. Makaidu picks it up right hand side, faced up by Garbett. Foden gives it back to Lewis in midfield. Salford really hassling and harrying as much as they can. As soon as the sky blue shirt gets in possession anywhere near the 18-yard box that they're defending. Here is Cherky, knocks the ball in field for Lewis now, up to Foden, then laid off by Gonzalez to Stones just over the halfway line. Kuzanov now in the centre circle, gives it back to Stones, who again just calmly brings the ball forward. Ait-Nouri has the ball slid out to him on the far left hand side, midway point of the Salford half. Back to Stones once more. Lewis offers himself up in the centre of the half and then gives it back to Stones.
Yeah, the distances are brilliant, by the way. You just can't get at them. For a Salford player, it's 10-15 yards to get at that ball and put pressure on it, a little bit of heat on it, and you just can't get there.
Reinders trying to win it just outside the Salford area. Good strength from the Dutchman, and then it's taken up by Foden. Slips it into the box. Out comes the keeper. Good goalkeeping
Brilliant
from Matthew Young, because Marmoush was onto that lovely ball from Foden. Spotted the run of Marmoush in a flash. And if the keeper hadn't been as wise to that, the Marmoush could have been in for a dinked second.
Yeah, great play by Foden. Lovely way to pass. He's read it superbly as well, Marmoush. The keeper again covers himself in glory. It's a great save. Kept his team in it.
Bromley, the runaway leaders of League 2, are 1-0 up on Notts County. That's first against third. Matt Dennis with an own goal. And Plymouth lead at Blackpool in League 1 through Alex Mitchell. 1-0 here to Manchester City. An own goal from Alfie Dorrington from a cross-come shot from Ryan Ait-Nouri early in the piece. But we've now reached 31.5 minutes. And that's how the score has stayed.
Well, there's not much more, obviously, in and around the box that's happened for City, to be honest with you, and you've got to give Salford credit for that. They've had a lot of possession, a lot of them late runs from in to out.
Cross into the near post is comfortably well defended by Brandon Cooper for Salford. Played up to Graydon, feeding off scraps, the young Irish striker. But he's done really well. He's won 2 or 3 challenges, and then ball lofted down the right-hand side by Woodburn, looking for Nmai, but that was well defended by Kuzanov.
Yeah, just cleaned up really well. Got bodies round it. It's what they do really well, City. As soon as they're in trouble, that counter press, they go after it, get 3 or 4 bodies round it, and then they start connecting passes again. Oh, what a run.
Well, run down the left-hand side from Marmouche. Can he play it across the face of goal again? Good defending at his own near post by Brandon Cooper. Just slid in and hooked it clear. Foden was waiting at the far post if he'd not made contact with that.
Yeah, they're not making it easy for Manchester City. To be fair, they're having a go at it.
90% possession for Manchester City as things stand.
But you can hear the crowd as well, just getting a little bit frustrated, trying to urge the team on.
Norwich 1, West Brom 0 in the FA Cup. Paris McHomer puts the Canaries ahead in the Cup at Carrow Road. Or trying to bring the ball clear. It's a very tall lad, Zako. He's got to be 6'7" at the back there for the Ammies. Ball played up to Graydon. Collapses in a heap with Stones. Woodburn picks up the loose ball for Salford. Tried to work it back for Longhello. Did really well to stop Marmouche getting a toe end in and bringing it away.
This is good spell,
I should say.
Yeah, good spell this by Salford. Just making it a little bit messier. Got around that second phase. Just making them give the ball away a little bit, City.
Sakor plays a long ball downfield. It's overhit. Joined from Accrington Stanley in January. Was at the Arsenal Academy and the Southampton Academy, Sakor. 22 years of age. They're doing well to find a shirt that fits him. Carl Robinson looks on with Alex Bruce at the edge of the Salford technical area. And they're 1-0 down only in this FA Cup tie to Manchester City, who beat Exeter 10-1 and were 3 or 4 goals up by half time. They've won a corner here down the left hand side as Cherky hit the ball against Brandon Cooper. He's trying to get his feet and head and everything in the way of every cross that comes in from Manchester City.
Yeah, he is. It's Aït-Nouri again that makes the run though. Picked out really well. Then it's a little slidey pass down the side for Cherky.
Cambridge United 1, Bristol Rovers 0 in League 2. They've won 5 out of 6, the U's. And Ben Knight's given them the lead at the Abbey. Corner to Manchester City. Ryan Cherky to take it. Right-footed in-swinger at the south stand. Away to our right-hand side. Raises both arms. Lofts it high to the far post. Looks like there's claims for a push on a City player. John Stones, the man looking imploringly at the referee, who says play on.
It took about 3 down with him there, didn't it, John Stones?
George Grant plays it long downfield. For a moment there was 3-on-2 for Salford, but the ball bounced and James Trafford, whose starting position was way outside his penalty area, comfortably got there first.
Yeah, they've got to make the most of these little breaks, these little openings that they get where they can raid quickly, where they're outnumbered a little bit, Man City at the back, because they commit bodies forward, and them's the areas where you can get a little bit of joy.
QPR equalised at Hunter Blackburn in the Championship. 2 sides needing a win. 1 win in 6 for QPR. That was against Coventry, live on Talksport 2 a couple of weeks back. Blackburn, 1 win in 11, and it's 1-1 at the Loft. Koki Saito for QPR getting the equaliser. 1-0 here to Manchester City. Less than 10 minutes to half time. And as Neil Redfern rightly pointed out, you could hear the home support just come on City.
Yeah, just some murmurs.
Just trying to encourage the sky blue shirts to show a bit of willing. Offside flag goes up against the Salford player. Don't forget the weekend sports breakfast back tomorrow on Talksport from 6 a.m. with Shabana Hearn and Tony Cascarino, picking the bones out of all of today's talking points before our live football gets back underway with 4 more FA Cup commentaries across the network. And there's one on Monday night as well. Macclesfield, conquerors of the holders, Crystal Palace, have another Premier League side travelling to Moss Rose in the shape of Brentford. That's our Monday night football.
Yeah, that's what the FA Cup's all about, isn't it?
Certainly is. Can lightning strike twice? Here is Cherky for Manchester City. Calmly rolls the ball out to the left-hand side of Aït-Nouri. Gives it back to Cherky. Just drops his shoulder and comes infield. Reinders, centre of the Salford half, leaves it for Rico Lewis to take control. And again, everybody but Graydon back behind the ball for Salford, saying, come on then, try and play through us if you can. They're trying to keep it quite narrow as well, as much as they can, Neil. Yeah, well, they play through central areas really well, City. I mean, where they've had the joy, Man City, is down this left-hand side with overlapping runs. Aït-Nouri's got forward brilliantly. Ryan Cherky as well has made good runs down there. Goals came from that area. But other than that, they've blocked them out quite well, Salford. You can hear again the frustration around us as City are struggling to find a route through that congested midfield that Salford have set up. Luton got an equaliser at Cardiff, but Cardiff have just gone 2-1 up through Joel Colwill in League One. Manchester City 1, Salford City 0. 37.5 minutes played on Talksport 2. Gonzalez plays a short 1-2 with Cherky. And still, Salford are just jostling for those areas of the pitch and denying Manchester City any space. Once they get probably, I don't know, Neil, 5 or 10 yards ahead of the centre circle, maybe? Yeah. Then they engage. Yeah, they start probing and prodding, and once they get in that area, Man City, there's white shirts in front of them. Now, Cherky trying to float the ball down the left wing, half cleared by Longello. Foden tries an ambitious drive from outside the area, always rising. Ends up as a goal kick for Salford away to our right-hand side. And the travelling Salford support in that south stand end might have been fearing the worst when they arrived at this stadium. They'll be, if not ecstatic, they'll certainly be encouraged by what they've seen. Yeah, pleasantly surprised, I'd say. You know, I don't think they've offered that much of a threat. You know, other than the goal, I can't remember too many clear-cut chances that Man City have had. They've been diligent of Salford, not offered enough of a threat going forward, you'd say, but they could argue that they've done a job. If they kept it down to 1-0, they're still in it. Goal kick for Matthew Young for Salford, on loan from Sunderland for a second season. Headed away from Mai by Kuzanov, who has it at the right-hand corner of his own penalty area now. Crossfield ball out to the left-hand side to Aït-Nouri, just inside his own half now. Clips the ball infield to Cherky, and he'll leave it for Nico Gonzalez. Lewis making a run inside right channel. That's who they're trying to find with the ball over the top, but it was just hit a bit too straight by Gonzalez and bounced through to Young again in the Salford goal. 1-0 to Manchester City. Yeah, Matt Young's distances has been absolutely spot on, the goalkeeper. A number of things he's just come and collected through balls. Obviously aware of it. That's the voice of Neil Redfern, former Leeds manager. What was your best run in the FA Cup, Neil? Do you know? Semi-final. Right. V Man United, Old Trafford at Main Road. Oh, was that Oldham days, was it? That was Oldham days, yeah. Oh, that'd be 1990 then, wouldn't it? 1990, yeah. Quarter-final, Barnsley, Newcastle. That's not bad. Oh, now and Mai with a neat turn on halfway for Salford, trying to get away from Kuzanov, but he's got goal side again, the defender. But Mai now running at him, left-hand corner of the area, showed too much of it to Kuzanov that time. Kept possession though, and Mai then got a shove in the back, and he's got a free kick, even though he'd wriggled away just for a moment from both Kuzanov and Cherky. But Salford have got a set piece here. Yeah. I tell you what, he's had some good little bits of play, little cameo roles, Kelly and Mai. He's looked really bright. Scott turned and started running at his man there. He's won his team a free kick in a really good position. Well, he's Dutch. He came through the Salford Academy though, Kelly and Mai. He scored 8 goals this season, including a couple against Leyton Orient in the round 1 victory. I tell you what, you can understand why, can't you? He's little and bright, he gets in good areas, little pockets. QPR won Blackburn 2 in the Championship. Matthias Jurgensen for Blackburn, desperate for a bit of form towards the foot of the Championship. So Garbett with a free kick for Salford, deep to the far post, headed along the 6-yard line. It almost dropped for Mai, but a vital clearance in the end at the back from Stones. Still Salford have it around the Manchester City penalty area. Work back to Luke Garbett, the captain. Clips it down the left-hand side. Woodburn's got a bit of space. Puts a first-time cross deep to the far post. Chested down to the edge of the area. The shot is deflected away. Out to the right-hand side. Kept in play at the dead ball line. Pulled back across the face of goal. Woodburn goes for goal. Brilliant save, Trafford. Half volley from Ben Woodburn looked destined for the top corner, but Trafford threw himself across to his right and made an excellent save. It is, though, a Salford corner. 1-0 to Manchester City. Yeah, that's their best moments, without a shadow of a doubt. Salford kept the ball alive brilliantly in the box. And what a fantastic strike and brilliant save from James Trafford. Lovely hit from Ben Woodburn, controlled the half volley,
kept it down
really well, just clipped it. It was on its way in. Here's the corner, taken deep by George Grant up to the far post. It's headed back his way, and he'll get there before Phil Foden can engage him. But then a flag's gone up for offside against George Grant as he received that ball back. And a free kick to Manchester City. But not only have they got a shot in, they've got a shot on target that required an outstanding save from a man who's not had that much football this season in James Trafford.
Yeah, it's amazing goalkeeping, really, because when you're so cold, you've not been in it at all. To pull that sort of athleticism out, I mean, it's a world-class save, it's going in.
Cardiff City 3, Luton Town 1 now. They're going to go 11 unbeaten, Cardiff. Perry NG with the third goal for the Bluebirds. The Sky Blues of Manchester City 1-0 up on Salford. We've got a couple of minutes to half-time. There'll be a little bit of added time. There was that clash earlier in the game between Max Lane and Josh Osterfield, which Max Lane came off worst and he had to be substituted. Here's Nico Gonzalez on halfway. Makaidu's making space for himself on this near side, having come on for Max Lane, but they're keeping it quite central.
Yeah,
Manchester City still.
I've been quite impressed.
Long ball downfield looking for Marmouche. Guides it back for Cherky. Flicks it back to Marmouche, who's offside as he picks the ball up inside the area. Free kick goes Salford's way.
Yeah, he's a little bit unlucky there, to be fair. I'm just going back to that. I've been quite impressed with how they've defended the width. It's not easy against City because they switch a player so well and so bright with the ball. They move it off limited touches. It's difficult to defend the width, but they've strung that 5 across the back line. Got that 4 in midfield, made City a little bit predictable at times. They've done well. They've got to take a bit of credit from this. I think they're still in this, but there's no two ways about it.
As we mentioned in our introduction, Carl Robinson had his Salford players training on a larger pitch than they normally would to try and replicate the conditions here. I think he also had a training session where he was playing 11 against 14 to give the 11 starters here today what it's like to play against a team like Manchester City. You feel like they've got 14 players out there.
You know, it's a good idea, to be honest with you, because at times it seems like 14, but they've limited them to bits and bats. I mean, look, they're 1-0 up. They deserve to be 1-0 up. They've had the vast majority of possession, but you know, they've not come for the possession, Salford. They've come to do a job.
Last time I checked, it was 90% possession for Manchester City,
and then they nearly equalised, Salford. So it's
86%.
It's irrelevant, isn't it, the possession?
Yeah, 86% of the ball has been for the hosts. 30 seconds of normal time remaining in the first half. Manchester City have possession with Makaidu on this near side. The City right plays it back in field for Phil Foden. Now Gonzalez. Little ball turn around the corner from Marmouche trying to find Foden. And then Woodburn is fouled and gets a free kick for Salford, which will eat up a few seconds towards the end of the first half. Hibernian leads St Mirren by 1-0 in the Scottish Premiership.
We haven't seen much of Phil Foden, have we, in this game? It's been snuffed out in that central area, to be fair.
We're into 2 minutes of minimum added time at the end of this first half. Manchester City 1, Salford City 0. Quite a few around us heading off to the console, the concourses for a pie and a pint. Or maybe some oysters, because there's a very posh executive area right behind us, isn't there, Neil?
Yeah. Obviously
you and me would never get in there.
No. Speak for yourself.
Nodded in field by Graydon. Flicked on by Woodburn, trying to get in my way down the left-hand side of the pitch. But it's out of play for a Manchester City goal kick. And nearly a minute of that minimum 2 has elapsed already. Pep Guardiola still prowling around his technical area.
I think he'd be a little bit disappointed, you know, with the output he's got from his team so far.
Good header back from Longhello to his keeper to deny Ait Nouri was trying to get in behind him. Plymouth have a second at their game at Blackpool in League One. No winning 3 for the Pilgrims, but Aribin Peppel with the second. Ball into the Manchester City box, and might trying to make a nuisance of himself, but the ball's going to play for a corner kick. He couldn't prevent it, so we're going to end the half here, Neil Redfern. with another set-piece opportunity for Salford City with a corner.
Yeah, they've emerged at the end of this half with one or two little flurries in and around Man City's box. You know, I'll give them credit. They've rode the storm as such. They have conceded, but it's only one. You know, and it only takes a little bit of luck, a little bit of fortune just to get themselves level. And we're in business.
Packed 6-yard box at the family stand end away to our left. Lots of blue and white shirts in there. Again, it's going to be Garbett with a left-footed in-swinging corner, or is an obvious target at the near post, gone to the far post.
Chance.
And two players went in for it, and I think it was Brandon Cooper who headed it down and wide of the post, and that signals the end of the first half. And it's a first half where Manchester City are in front against League 2 opposition, but it's by no means a crushing lead that they've got. Only one goal, and it came from an own goal when Ryan Ait-Nouri was played in down the left-hand side of the Salford penalty area, got his shot away. It took a touch off Alfie Dorrington on loan from Spurs, wrong-footed Matthew Young in the Salford goal and went in at his near post to put City in front. And you thought that was it, floodgates open, here we go, it could be another Exeter City all over again, but not so. Salford have plugged gaps, worked incredibly hard, and they forced one or two chances. The one right at the end there for Brandon Cooper from a corner, and even better than that, Ben Woodburn, former Liverpool player, had a half volley clipped towards goal that James Trafford did brilliantly to fly across and tip behind late in the first half. Although it's one-way traffic in terms of possession, 85% to 15, it is only at half-time Manchester City 1, Salford City 0.
Thank you, Ian. Yeah, great summary. You've got to be thinking Carl Robinson, after conceding a goal so early on, is being haunted by memories of the past, where of course Manchester City beat Salford 8-0 in this competition. They've done incredibly well, Neil Redfern, just to gather themselves to get to half-time just a goal behind, and you'd think this is incredibly pleasing for Carl Robinson and of course the owners at the club, who were desperately wanting to be trying to push for some sort of FA Cup upset.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, they've conceded early, and then you fear the worst. You know, they're playing with such confidence. They've dropped back in and denied the fact that they're going to have possession of the ball, Salford. But it's not bothered them. And to be fair, as the game's gone on and they've grown and grown, they've had chances themselves. In fact, they've probably had the better of the two chances of the two sides.
That Ben Woodburn chance, fair play to Trafford, by the way, who of course came to the club thinking he was going to be the number one at sort of his childhood club, the club he'd been at the academy for. Donnarumma's come in and he's almost been pushed to the side. But you know, what a moment for him, because otherwise brilliant. It was a great opportunity, but even better save. Yeah,
it's a world-class save, to be honest with you, and it's come from nowhere because it had nothing to do up till that point, really. You know, I haven't really had many shots on target, and to get that sort of athleticism to pull that or claw that ball away from the top corner takes some doing.
What do you think Carl Robinson's saying at half-time, Neil? Because, again, on that opportunity, sort of out of nowhere, but they've been given a sniff, they can maybe smell a little bit of blood. Surely that he's going to be sort of focusing on that, saying, look, boys, anything can happen, we're still in this.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. I mean, the big thing I'll be cautious of if he's on it, I think, is the fact that if you really open up against this Man City side, they'll blow you away.
Yeah.
They blow you away. I mean, they've had little moments where the little interplays and the passing's gotten them in and around that box, and it's like, you know, they've been trying their best Salford to stay with it. They just can't stay with it. So they've just got to stay intact with this. The longer it goes, 1-0, yeah, it only takes, you know, a chance in the last minute to get a result, you know, and then they're in the realms of maybe even looking at knocking Man City out.
Do you think this is a case of the longer it goes on, the more pressure on City?
Yeah, I do, yeah. But I mean, you can feel the frustration in the crowd. You know, come on City, they're chanting. You know, and they've had the ball. I mean, 80-odd% possession, realistically. It's like you need to throw another ball on for Salford, but they're not bothered. You know, they've realised that they're not going to have the ball. They've denied space. They've made it difficult. They've tracked runners. I think Zach Orr's been outstanding, tracking runners at the back and picking players up. You know, he's been a real credit. His athleticism really got his team off the hook at times. You know, and City need to do more, if we're honest.
Great stuff, Neil. Great stuff, Dan. Let's go and enjoy a little second half beverage, because it's time now for us to preview tonight's FA Cup action live on Talksport at 5:45 as Aston Villa host Newcastle in an all-Premier League affair. And we're joined now by match commentator, Talksport commentator Joe Shannon to look ahead to the game. Joe, I mean, I've got to say, and people might disagree with me, people might say that Man City, Salford City's the sort of the best sort of tie this round because it's a Mancunian derby. But for me, Aston Villa Newcastle, two teams whose raison d'etre for me has to be looking to win silverware somehow. I think this is going to be an absolute cracker of a tie.
Afternoon, Max. Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait for it. Already in position here at Villa Park. We're waiting for a 40,000 plus strong crowd to get in. There are a few gloomy clouds perched high up overhead, but the atmosphere here is going to be absolutely tremendous. 13 times between them, these two great clubs have lifted the FA Cup, but not since the 1950s. Wow. So it's been far too long. Of course, Newcastle, we know, League Cup winners last season under Eddie Howe, and everybody's well aware of the Cup exploits in Europe that Unai Emery has achieved over his managerial career. 9 major trophies in 19 years as a manager, Unai Emery. So I completely agree with you. I think this is a competition that both teams are going to be targeting. Both teams will feel they have a chance of going all the way in. What might help Aston Villa today, as well as home advantage, of course, and after a little bit of a wobble of late at Villa Park, they are still a very good side on this ground, Aston Villa, and coupled with Newcastle's injuries, I wonder whether that might just sway Aston Villa to edge out Newcastle today. But look, it's the kind of tie where anything could happen. We could end up going all the way to extra time and penalties.
Yeah, you mentioned injuries there. I think it's a really good point. Bruno Guimaraes out for 2 months. It's going to be a massive blow for Eddie Howe, that, isn't it? He's that midfield general. He's that sort of character that you think can really drag Newcastle and was so important in their Carabao Cup win last season. It's going to be a huge miss for Newcastle.
Absolutely, and he, as we all know, is the big leader in the team, the club captain, the man who drives everything forward. Everything goes through him from a Newcastle United perspective. I thought he was excellent on Tuesday night in the victory away at Tottenham. Much needed away victory for Newcastle, who've not been particularly good on their travels domestically so far this campaign. And then you look at the other injuries that Newcastle have got in those midfield positions. Joel Linton, Lewis Miley, so they are a bit short at the moment, Eddie Howe. I mean, Sandro Tonali is going to have to be a ready-made replacement, top player in his own right. He, I imagine, would likely come in. But that is the big conundrum for Eddie Howe. What does he do in that midfield area today with his captain out? Does he even change formation? Does he go 3 at the back? That's one of the things that Hill have been thinking about, no doubt, in the build-up to this game. But you're absolutely right, Max. That injury is a massive blow for them.
Indeed. I mean, thinking about Aston Villa, that for me, they're on a similar sort of level to Newcastle. They're trying to break that ceiling, into that top 6 ceiling, let's say. They've both got great managers, both got great owners, both got great players in their squads. But Villa will have looked at Newcastle last season, winning that trophy, the first one in a generation, and seen what it did to the fan base and the city. And with Unai Emery being such a, he's won so many trophies, particularly in Europe. Do you think there's pressure on him and Aston Villa to finally bring a trophy to Villa Park, because it's been so long? 1996, the last major trophy Aston Villa won.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. And the pressure was exactly the same at Newcastle United. In fact, even more so, because the League Cup that they won last season was their first domestic trophy in 7 decades, would you believe it? Aston Villa, absolutely right. Last time they won a major trophy was in the mid-90s under Brian Little. That was the League Cup. I don't know about you, but I can barely remember that. So there's pressure on Aston Villa to do something. I think there's a lot of quality in this team. You look at the likes of Morgan Rogers, Ollie Watkins, Emi Buendia, Ezri Konsa. They do have injuries, Aston Villa, at the moment as well. That's important to think about. Again, in those central midfield areas, John McGinn, Yuri Tielemans, Kamara's out for the rest of the season. Matty Cash is set to miss out today. But they will feel that there's sufficient quality in the squad that, whether it be potentially in European competition, whether it be in domestic cup competition, they are looking for silverware. And I have I would not be surprised if one of these two sides were to go really deep in the FA Cup this season.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think they're two teams primed, ready, I think, to win domestic silverware. It's so important for both of those clubs and both of those cities. I was only 3 years old when Aston Villa last won a major trophy, so there's a generation of villains praying, other than, of course, playoffs, which is amazing, praying for silverware. Joe, I will leave you there, allow you to continue your preparations. A reminder, Joe will be alongside Scott Minto as we bring you live commentary from Villa Park from 5:45, and Liverpool-Brighton follows from 8 p.m. Then 4 more commentaries for you tomorrow, including our exclusive offering of Arsenal versus Wigan. Next year on Talksport 2, we'll have the second half of Man City versus Salford, and I'll bring you all the halftime classifieds from the Premier League and EFL. You're listening to EFL Live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m. 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability. Prices may apply.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the English Football League. FA Cup Live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Got Big McDonald's hunger? The Big Arch is here to stay. Available from 11 a.m, subject to availability. Price and participation may vary.
This is not just food. This is 100% British, 5% fat beef mince. Now for just £5.20. Hang on, 100% British for £5.20? Down from £6.75? That can't be right. Oh, it says here that this is the Remarkable Value range. Over 100 family favourites that are the same M&S quality but at everyday low prices. Well, looks like this is not just food. This is M&S Remarkable Value food. Subject to availability.
Hello, Mike's Mechanics. How can we help?
Can you tell me what's wrong with my car? It's making a noise.
Right, and is that when you brake or accelerate?
So when I brake, it's more of a... and when I accelerate, it's more of a... if you get me.
Right.
Customers can be hard work. Switching your bank account won't be. We'll automatically move your regular payments over when you switch with the Current Account Switch service.
It's the last chance to get yourself a ticket for tonight's Lotto draw.
It could be you.
Lotto from the National Lottery. Rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
Ticket, please. Thank you. Tickets, please, madam.
Sure, let me just... Oh, this jacket's got so many pockets.
No rush.
Got it on eBay. Vintage. One of a kind.
I just need your ticket, madam.
Couldn't find it anywhere. Then, ta-da! eBay. Total bargain.
That's nice.
Oh, thank you.
But I still need to see your ticket.
Oh, yeah, sure.
With great deals on things you love, you can't help but say when it's eBay. Things people love.
Yorkshire tea, where everything's done proper. Yorkshire tea, brew strength made at your own discretion. Boiled water not included. Or mugs, milk in second, always. For exceptions visit, no chance. Not ever, ever. Best stirred clockwise, except on Tuesdays. Can accept no responsibility for squeezed tea bags left on countertop. Refer to box for details. Best stirred with a spoon, not your finger. May be enjoyed outside Yorkshire. Sheep on front of box not included. Nor is small cottage, nor is Sky. We don't know what the cricket score was. For best results, drink. May contain hot liquid. Whew. Blimey.
Your driving test starts now. Move off when you're ready.
I hope I pass. I've entered a competition to win a Leapmotor B10 electric car worth over £30,000. You just pick up the Sun newspaper and start collecting your codes or join Sun Club to enter. Easy.
Stop here, please.
What?
I'm off to enter.
T's and C's apply.
With a Lidl Plus Bakery Spin, you can get a free bakery coupon every time you shop. Just scan Lidl Plus at the checkout, spin, win, and enjoy a free bakery item. Lidl, more to value. One spin per customer per day, subject to availability. Ends 25th of Feb, 18 plus GB only. T's and C's apply. See lidl.co.uk/LPTV.
Online, on DAB+, and on the app. This is Talksport 2.
This is Game Day.
Halftime classifieds.
You're listening to Talksport 2 and Max Scott. Let's get your half-time classified scores, shall we? Starting with the FA Cup.
The Emirates FA Cup.
Yeah, in the early kick-off, West Ham beat Burton Albion away after extra time. It's half-time, Burnley 1, Mansfield 0. Manchester City live here on Talksport 2, 1-0 up against Salford City. Norwich 1, West Brom 0. Southampton 1, Championship strugglers Leicester City 0.
Sky Bet Championship.
Derby County, Swansea City goalless at half-time. Same between Portsmouth and Sheffield United. But Preston North End 1-0 up against Watford. Queen's Park Rangers are losing at home 2-1 against Blackburn Rovers. And it's 0-0 between rock bottom Sheffield Wednesday against promotion hopefuls Millwall.
Sky Bet League One.
In the early kickoffs, Reading beat Wickham 3-2 in a barnstormer. And then on the earlier kickoff on Talksport 2, Stevenage late winner against Huddersfield to go 4 points off the playoffs. Half-time, Barnsley 2, AFC Wimbledon 2. Blackpool are losing 3-0 at home to Plymouth Argyle. Bradford are 1-0 up against Peterborough United at half-time. It's Cardiff 3, Luton 1 at half-time. Donny Rovers against Port Vale was postponed. Waterlogged pitch. It's Exeter goalless at home against Northampton Town, and Lincoln are 1-0 up against Bolton Wanderers.
Sky Bet League Two.
Goalless between Barnet and Cheltenham Town, as well as Barrow and Colchester. Bromley are 1-0 up against Notts County. It's 1-1 between Cambridge United and Bristol Rovers. 1-0 Chesterfield against Harrogate Town. Crewe Alexandra 0, Gillingham 0. MK Dons are 1-0 up against Newport County. And that, I'm afraid, is all we have got time for in the classified results, because we're about to get underway at the Etihad in the second half between Manchester City and Salford City. So we're heading back to Neil Redfern and our match commentator Ian Bent.
Thank you, Max. About to get back off and running. No changes, further changes in the case of Manchester City. At the turnaround, they had to bring on Ryan Makaidu for the injured Max Lane in the first half. So I'll run through the lineups in just a minute. As Salford, wearing their white change strip, get us back underway on Talksport 2. They'll be attacking the South Stand. Will Salford away to our right. That's where their supporters are. Manchester City in the sky blue shirts and socks with the white shorts will be attacking the Family Stand, as they prefer to do in the second half of home fixtures. And they've won a throw already. I did see Cole Stockton having a fairly strenuous warm-up at half-time for Salford. Well, he's Cole the goal when he was thumping him in at Fleetwood Town.
He's a big presence, isn't he? When he puts himself about, he's very much a focal figure, which would be a little bit different to Graydon, who's more mobile, looks to get down the sides. They've had some joy through Graydon towards the end of the first half, to be fair.
So Manchester City have Trafford in goal. It's now Makaidu, Kusanov, Stones and Ait-Nouri, Luis Gonzalez and Reinders, Foden, Marmoush and Cherky. Falls back with Matt Young, the Salford keeper, in front of him. Cooper, Dorrington, Orr, Garbett, Longello, Woodburn, Osterfield, Grant and Mai and Graydon. As the ball's passed out to Rico Lewis, who switched position in this game from being in central midfield to being a sort of right back, come a defensive midfielder. As the ball's taken off the toe of Cherky by Woodburn, and the lively Kellyan Mai moving his way down the left-hand side, gets up to the left-hand corner of the area. On the charge, down the left-hand side, the cross comes in, chested down by Nico Gonzalez and thumped clear for Salford City up to halfway. Marmoush is having his shirt pulled, but the referee elects to wave play on. I think Salford City have got away with one there.
Yeah, definitely. It was a blatant pull. You can see it from here up in the stands, but they started off this half quite well. Salford, they're on the front foot, a little bit higher up the pitch. Had a little bit more possession than they had early on in the first half.
In the Championship, Derby County, with just 4 home wins this season, they lead Swansea City through a Rhian Brewster goal. And Mai trying to turn just outside the area. Ball's rolled back to Trafford. That's not a good clearance from James Trafford, but Manchester City makes something of it, and it's guided back by Ait-Nouri infield to Nico Gonzalez. Quick ball to find Reinders, who scampers away into the Salford half. Now they've got a few more men forward. Makaidu into the area right hand side, trying to play it across the face of goal. It deflects out of a Salford boot, and now the white shirts have got everybody behind the ball. Gonzalez plays a short 1-2 with Cherky. Cherky gives it back to him, trying to get past George Grant. Cherky sticks out a foot, Grant, and prevents him getting further forward. So a bit of 1 and 2 touch football for Manchester City, and Stones plays it to Ait-Nouri, level with the 18-yard line on the left wing on this near side, with Manchester City attacking the Family Stand in this second period. Cross it goes to Lewis. Now they've worked it from left to right. Makaidu, faced by Mai on the right-hand side for Manchester City. Ball into the area, Marmouche, tight to the 6-yard box. It's been lost by the keeper. They've still got it in the area, Manchester City. Foden making room for a shot. It's blocked. There's just a forest of legs to try and get those sort of shots through. And Salford get it clear. And they want to throw Salford, and they've been granted one. Looked like it came off Ryan Graydon last of all to me, but it's been given as a Salford throw right in front of Pep Guardiola, who appears unmoved and keeps his hands behind his back.
Yeah, I think they got away with one there, Salford, earlier on. Keeper who's been outstanding, to be fair. Matt Young just came and didn't really get a clean catch on it. It spilled loose, and they kept the ball alive in the box. City should have done a little bit better. Should have got some effort on the target there.
Woodburn. Bit of head tennis on halfway between Salford and Manchester City players. Orr loses out to Cherky, who can release Makaidu on the right hand side, but Cherky's carrying the ball himself up to the edge of the area. Makaidu with the drive, good save. Young plunged to his left and turned it around the post for a Manchester City corner. With nearly 5 gone in the second half, Manchester City 1, Salford City 0.
Yeah, that's a great effort from Makaidu. Just opened his body up and curled it in with his left foot, but a fantastic save again from Young.
Well, Makaidu's likely to take this corner. No, he's actually backed away because Foden's making tracks over to that far side. Another championship goal has gone in at Loftus Road. Blackburn 3-1 up at QPR now. Morishita with the third goal for Blackburn Rovers. Corner kick for Manchester City at the family stand end. They lead by a goal to 0. Foden swings it in left-footed, headed down and up by the tallest man on the pitch. Orr comes out to Makaidu inside the area right-hand side. Guides it back to Foden, gets to the edge of the box, tries to dominate. It's blocked by Orr once again and goes behind for another Manchester City corner away to our left. 1-0 they lead.
Yeah, that's much better from Phil Foden. Just skipped past 2 challenges there. His touch is so good as he dances out in and out of the challenges and gets it onto his left foot. Great strike, but it cannons off a white shirt, goes out for a corner. All City at the moment.
So once again it will be Foden to take it from that far right hand side of the field, left footed into the near post. Stones gets something on it, but on the half volley can only clip it over the bar. 1-0 hit. I've just remembered Blackburn of course now got Michael O'Neill in temporary charge there at Ewood Park, so he's working the Oracle nice and early, isn't he?
He's part-time.
Yeah, till the end of the season I think.
Yeah, I played with Michael O'Neill at Wigan.
Oh, did you?
A little known fact.
Every day's a school day.
Every day's a school
day.
Say.
It is when I'm working with you. I learn phrases. Bits and bats was one I heard earlier.
Yorkshire phrases?
Yeah, Yorkshire phrase. Bits and bats. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah, well, that would do in the arm, mate. Take deep breaths. Don't last long.
Goal kick downfield from Matthew Young for Salford. Kept in play. Osterfield heads it up in the air. Graydon trying to make a nuisance of himself against Husanov. He will break for the white shirts of Salford, but then John Stones characteristically and calmly tidies things up for Manchester City and just rolls it back to his keeper.
Do you know what? That bodes well for the national side, doesn't it? For England. Stones coming back, making an appearance. Looked very comfortable in this game, I have to say.
Let's see how long he lasts on his first appearance back since early December. Diaz is on the bench as an obvious replacement, so too Gahey, who I'm sure will want to be Stones' defensive partnership in a first choice England team come the World Cup. Every game at the World Cup this summer live across the Talksport network with this newly expanded tournament across North America. Long ball downfield for Alfie Dorrington, trying to get in behind the Manchester City defence. City had it clear, but it's back out on the left-hand side with George Grant trying to feed him down the left-hand side, but Manchester City get a foot in. It's out of play for a Salford throw down the left-hand side.
It's definitely opened up second half. They're having a lot more play, Salford. They're not just sat in soaking play up, trying to break and counter-attack. They're taking the game to City here.
Neil's old club Bradford now 2-0 up on Peterborough United. Caden Jackson with the second goal for the Bantams. Long throw from Salford up to the edge of the area, headed up by Kusanov, or trying to get in there on the left-hand side of the box. But his touch actually took it out of play for a Manchester City goal kick.
Yeah,
away to our right-hand side.
I've been impressed with Orr. I think he's done well. Couldn't do much with that there, but he's been really athletic in front of that back line. He's got back and covered really well.
Well, we shouldn't forget that Salford will not want to have the drop-off in form that they suffered after the heavy defeat here last year, which was in January. They've made their acquisitions like Zakor in the January window, and they want to keep pace with the playoff pack. Volleyed downfield, trying to get Graydon into the game. Very calmly dealt with, though, by Kusanov at the back. He receives the ball from John Stones, midway point of his own half. Leicester equalise at Southampton, who went ahead right on half-time through a penalty, but Oliver Skipp equalises for beleaguered Leicester City. Got that points deduction that leaves them hovering over the Championship relegation zone. But in that cup tie at St Mary's, it's all square. 1-0 here to Manchester City. Nearly 10 minutes gone in the second half. Makaidu plays the ball into the area, runs for Foden, drags his foot on the ball beautifully, tries to work it back for Cherky. Woodburn gets a foot in. Back it goes to Ryan Cherky in the centre of the Salford City half. Ring across the line from left to right. Gives the ball to Makaidu. Short pass from Reinders. Now Foden in the centre of the Salford half. He shaped as though he was going to go for goal from 35 out. Plays it out to Ike Nouri on the left-hand side. Again, Salford trying to plug those gaps. Stones across to Rico Lewis and shovelled wide once again to Makaidu. Looking to take on a Mai for pace. Checks onto his left and Mai holds him up and wins it back for Salford City and then gets clipped by Ryan Makaidu. The City fans around us thought there should have been a foul going the other way, but instead it's a free kick to Salford.
Yeah, brilliant play, to be fair, by Mai. I've been impressed with him as well. You know, he's done a lot of defensive work, got back and covered for his teammates.
Ooh, Mansfield equalise at Burnley. 1-1, Rhys Oates for the Stags.
This is what the cup's about, mate.
And in the Championship, Watford have equalised at Preston. Othman Mama, 10 minutes into the second half at Deepdale. So yeah, Mansfield level, the League One side at Premier League Burnley. And League Two Salford here, only one goal down against the might of Manchester City.
I tell you what, there's definitely been a conscious effort to take the game to City this half. They're higher up the pitch, the back line's right on the halfway line. Salford.
Changes in the offing as well on the Salford bench. Little touch from Longello, gets Woodburn away, clips the ball into the box, and Mai stealing in at the far post, almost got a touch, but good defending by Rico Lewis. He's touched it behind. Salford have a corner away to our right hand side, and it's 1-0 to Manchester City.
I have to say, they've probably been the better of the two sides, breaking forward in and around the box. And what they've done is they've worked so hard the other way. They've made it difficult for Man City to have any sights at goal. They've got bodies in the way, they've blocked, they've thrown the bodies at it. This is what it's all about.
So Grant has gone across to take the corner kick where the east stand meets the south. In it comes. Up go the heads. Oh, Trafford came and punched and completely missed it. Kept in play as it. It's gone out of play and it's been given as a goal kick. Well, the Salford players hold their arms out wide to the referee, saying that should be another corner. But instead, Manchester City can bring it clear. But Trafford came and got nowhere near that corner kick.
Yeah, not convincing that at all from James Trafford. It's better than that.
Made that terrific save
in
the first half, James Trafford, to deny Ben Woodburn on the half volley. Osama Ashley is warming up, and so too is Daniel Udo. So there's attacking midfield and striking options. Udo was only at Wycombe last season. They had so many good strikers at Wycombe last season, I thought, in League One. Finishers, you know, people who could come off the bench and win games. And Udo, another one. And Cole Stockton back out warming up as well. So it's not like Salford don't have options to try and cause Manchester City further problems. 57 gone, 1-0 to the Premier League side.
Yeah, I think Carl Robinson's measured this quite well, to be honest with you. Only 1-0. You know, they're making it inroads into this second half. They've been much better, much brighter. If they're looking at the bench now to freshen it up, might cause Man City a problem.
Lovely ball from Phil Foden, though, out to Makaidu on the right-hand side, but his heavy touch allows Luke Garber to come across, and it's actually given as a goal kick. It actually came off Makaidu last. I thought it was going to be a corner, but Salford are getting a lot of the decisions at the moment, and they're only trailing by 1-0 here.
Yeah, Garbert's done ever so well against Makaidu. Not really giving much of a sniff, to be honest with you.
Watford in front at Preston in the Championship through an own goal. Odelou got a fire, making it Preston 1, Watford 2 in the Championship. Watford haven't won since New Year's Day, but new manager Edward Still, brother of Will Still, in charge now at Vicarage Road. Will he still be the Watford manager at the end of the season?
Or will he stand still?
Very good. See, I'll set him up, you knock him down. Grant for Salford in the centre circle, plays it left to Inmai, who's trying to trick his way past Rico Lewis down to the dead ball across the face of goal, and it was cleared away by Stones, and it had to be because Graydon was lurking right behind him. Throw into Salford, 1-0 to Manchester City.
Yeah, Kelly Mdai has probably been the most dangerous wide player on the pitch, to be honest with you. You know, we've not seen much of Ryan Cherky this second half. Foden's been quiet. He's taken the stage and really give a good performance.
Talksport 2 in the FA Cup. Long throw from Salford into the box. It's allowed to bounce and hooked away expertly by Phil Foden from around the penalty spot. Longella wins it back for Salford. Now Woodburn jinking down this right hand side. Good ball up to Enmai. Tries to play Longella when on the overlap. Little sliding challenge in from Stones. Prevents the corner as well. Anait Nouri. Oh, he gets robbed by Enmai on the dead ball line. Gives it back to the right hand side of the area. Dorrington trying to get across and it's blocked. Comes out to Longella. Again, round by the corner flag on the right hand side, looking to shape for a cross. It's along the deck, and Mai gets it, fires it straight into the chest of Trafford, and it's gone behind for a Salford corner. Manchester City hanging on here somehow.
Yeah, they were on the rack. Last 4 or 5 minutes, they're really on the rack. It's a great finish. Stood up well, the big goalkeeper, to be fair, James Trafford at the near post, but he hit him with it and by.
So another Salford corner, where the Colin Bell meets the South Stand on the hour. Manchester City 1-0 up. Garbett to take it for Salford. Goes deep to the far post. Headed up in the air by Stones. Where's that going to drop? On the far side for Makaidu, who just volleys it clear. Everybody was back for Manchester City. Real encouragement for the Ammies. Hit long downfield by Matt Young, trying to get Orr into the game inside the area, who had stayed forward, but the ball bounced away from him and out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Pep. He's just gone and sat back down, whether he's consulting his coaches and thinking about his next substitution. But they're definitely in a game now, Manchester City. They're causing problems, Salford.
Sheffield Wednesday 1, Millwall 0 in the Championship. Jamal Lowe on the hour. Sheffield Wednesday, no win in 26. Hit the front against Millwall, who started the day in 5th. And they have the most clean sheets in the Championship, Millwall with 12. They're not extending that record today. Falkirk 2, Dundee United 2. Craig Sibbald equalises for Dundee United. Stones for Manchester City, who lead by a goal to 0 just past the hour mark here on Talksport 2 at the Etihad. Looking for an option, Stones, as he receives it from Gonzalez now. Not much movement ahead of him. Then Foden tries to quicken things up with the ball round the corner. Salford, again, have got plenty behind the ball. They're keeping a very, very rigid defensive shape. Foden tricks himself away from one chance, but then gets dispossessed by George Grant, working very hard.
If you look at the shape now, it's like 6-3-1. Almost got a back six.
Shrewsbury are in front again against Swindon, 2-1. Here's Cherky for Manchester City. Runs into trouble. It's hooked away by Austerfield. It'll go towards near the halfway line. Oh, lovely touch from Rico Lewis to keep it away from Amai. Now plays Makaidu in right-hand side. Lewis goes again into the area, across the face of goal, and Matt Young clutches hold of it at the second attempt in the Salford goal.
Yeah, that's more like it from Manchester City. Great little give and go, to be fair, to get to the byline. But the big keeper does well again. Matt Young gathers it at the second attempt.
Cleared from Hans Graydon. Tries to chase onto his own flick on. So Manchester City are going to make changes. O'Reilly, Gahey and Semenyo all being readied down beneath us.
I tell you what, that's credit to Salford, you know.
Yeah. That's Pep Guardiola responding to the way that the League Two side have gone about their business since the break, that he feels the need to bring on these three high-quality players.
I mean, in an ideal world, they'd be that far in front that, you know, he wouldn't even have to risk these players, but they're obviously not. They're still in this tie, Salford. Great credit to them.
Salford did have those two players ready, but they're not using either of them. Udo's still warming up. So too is Ashley on the near touchline. They look ready to come on about 5 minutes ago, but Carl Robinson's got, right, hold your horses. Goal kick to Salford. Nearing the midway point of the second half. 63 gone on Talksport 2. Plymouth get a fourth at Blackpool. Caleb Watts, what a day for the travelling Plymouth support going all the way up to Bloomfield Road. That's a long trip. Oof. But that'll be a happy trip home for the Pilgrims. Here comes the triple change then for Manchester City. And the players coming off. Aitnouri is going to make way for O'Reilly.
I think he's played well.
Stones is going to make way, having played pretty much what we suggested he would. He's played an hour on his comeback.
Yeah,
Gagey's going to come on for him. So a good, pleasing return to action for Stones. Got some minutes in his legs. And the other change sees Semenyo come on for Foden.
Yeah.
That's more of a surprise.
Yeah, I've been a little bit disappointed in Foden, if I'm honest. I thought he'd have more of an impact in this game. To be fair, he hadn't really had the service, but you know, he's not done much with what he's had.
Well, he's given Rico Lewis the armband because Stones had handed Foden the captaincy as he was making his way up, and then Foden realised his number's up and he's got to give the armband somewhere else. So Semenyo, who went miles and miles up in my estimation when the deal was done to come here from Bournemouth, but he didn't just sack off the rest of his Bournemouth performances, kept playing for them, scored the winner in his last game, and then came to City. Many other players wouldn't have done what he did.
Yeah, I hear you, mate. I agree. Credit to him.
So Manchester City 1, Salford City 0 on Talksport 2. 25 to go. 3 changes and high-profile changes made by Pep Guardiola. Reinders runs into Orr. What a challenge from Zach Orr. He's going to bring the ball forward up to the edge of the area. He goes down and Salford have a free kick 25 yards from goal. Reinders only just picking himself up, but it was a perfectly fair challenge from the telescopic leg of Zach Orr, who was then fouled himself. Free kick Salford City.
I'll tell you what, he's been my man of the match so far for Salford. Zach Orr, brilliant. So athletic, just strode into that challenge and took him out, broke him in bits. It's like they had to come on with a dustpan and brush, sweep him up.
Well, he's up. Dejani Reinders,
yeah,
very strong challenge, and then Orr got to his feet and picked it up himself, and it was Nico Gonzalez that shoved him over. So it's a free kick for Salford City.
It's in range.
It is in range for a direct strike at goal.
Garbutt
has paced away from the ball. Could be a left-footed effort from him. George Grant is there too.
I tell you what, he's got the quality, Garbutt.
He has.
Just put the kiss of death on it.
He played at the Etihad last season in the 8-0. His free kick for Salford into the wall and cleared away up to halfway, where it's retrieved by Longello. Now Orr clips a long ball. Oh, that's a driver when he needed a pitching wedge to send that down the right-hand side.
Wouldn't have caught that on a motorbike. He's given her a corner though for it.
It has. It's come off a Manchester City leg. And Salford have a corner at the south stand end.
Just looking at the clips of Pep, it's not what he wanted, is it really? He's having to put his big hitters on. And it's still 1-0 and they're in the ascendancy, Salford.
Derby County 2, Swansea City 0 in the Championship. And the second goal for Derby comes from Patrick Adjumang. And Crew lead Gillingham by goal to nil in League 2. 4 unbeaten Crew. Start the day in 10th. Adrien Thibault with the goal for the Railwaymen. So another corner for Salford with a quarter of the game to go. Manchester City only 1-0 up. Garbutt with his latest corner for the Ammies. Into the near post. Across the 6-yard box and awkwardly cleared by O'Reilly. Made its way through so many players who were trying to get a touch on that. And it's nodded all the way back to Matthew Young in the Salford goal.
Yeah, it was a great ball in from... Oh, hang on.
Well, Young's hit the ball straight against Makaidu, but George Grant comes to the rescue as Cherky was closing down. We had that incident in the whole Chelsea game last night where a goalkeeping clearance nearly led to a goal, and that happened again there nearly.
Yeah, I mean, he showed his pace there, to be fair to him. Jones got back really quick.
Manchester City lead by 1-0, just 1-0. Now here is Rico Lewis just ahead of the centre circle. Short pass from Gonzalez into O'Reilly. Now Semenyo gets his first involvement down this left-hand side for Manchester City. It's back with Rico Lewis once more, just ahead of the centre circle. Again, very tight and compact and compressed in the middle of the pitch. Makaidu's holding on that far right-hand side, but they're not using him very much.
No, they've not switched to play enough for me. I mean, it's very narrow, that four in midfield. Just can't play through it.
Back it goes to Gonzalez by the centre circle. To his left for Gahey. The double change is ready now for Salford City. And it is still Udo and Ashley that are going to be introduced, as looked the case about 10 minutes ago. Oh, great challenge by Garbett, who then gets hauled to the ground by Makaidu, who he dispossessed. West Bromwich Albion equalising the FA Cup at Norwich City. That's 1-1. Josh Madger. And Hibs go 2-0 up against St Mirren in Scotland.
Yeah, I think Lou Garbett's been brilliant at left back. I think he stood up, defended well, used the ball well.
Well, here come the two changes for Salford City, and George Grant, who just came to Salford's rescue after that goalkeeping clearance hit Makaidu. He's coming off, so Osama Ashley, who was from Colchester, former West Ham Academy graduate. He's coming off, and the other player coming off is the lively Kellyan Mai, who I know you've enjoyed his performance this afternoon, Neil Redfern.
Yeah, I wouldn't have took him off.
Well, he's off, and Daniel Udo.
But to be fair, Udo, he offers a threat as well. Probably a little bit stronger, a little bit more powerful.
Yeah, he scored, 10 goals, I think, at Wickham in 50-odd appearances. Preston 2, Watford 2 back in the Championship. Milutin Osmajic brings Preston level. They were 1-0 up and 2-1 down, the Lily Whites. 20 minutes to go on Talksport 2. We've got the Formula E Jeddah Grand Prix coming up straight after this commentary, with John Jackson and the team bringing you all the commentary on that race, with Pascal Wehrlein 16 points clear at the top of the driver's standings. And then we've got PGA Golf to round off the rest of the evening. 2 FA Cup ties back-to-back on Talksport as the offside flag goes up against Ryan Makaidu. We've got Villa Newcastle and Liverpool Brighton from 5:45 through till 10 o'clock live on Talksport, and then 4 more FA Cup ties tomorrow, not least Birmingham City against Leeds United at lunchtime live on Talksport. And our exclusive commentary later tomorrow afternoon, Arsenal against Wigan, the 2013 FA Cup winners, who beat Manchester City famously at Wembley with that Ben Watson header.
I tell you what, if you'd have gone to Carl Robinson before the game and said with 20 minutes to go you'll only be a goal down, having the last time they met losing 8-0, he'd have took it, he'd have snapped your hand off, wouldn't he? And they're in with a chance here, by the way.
Many. And again, he's in deep in conversation with Alex Bruce inside the technical area about what they can do next. Pep Guardiola keeping his own counsel with his big puffer coat on at the edge of his technical area.
That is a big puffer coat, that, isn't it?
Long throw into the Manchester City box. Orr tries to win the header. Heads it straight up in the air. Where's that going to drop? Hooked away by Lewis. Straight back out to Garbett on the left-hand side, who gets the better of Makaidu. Oh, little clever football out the left-hand side. Ashley helps to win a throw once again for Salford City. They're not giving up on this by any means, the League Two side.
I tell you what, they're growing in confidence. They're starting to pop the ball about now, doing to City what City do to other teams.
Long throw again from Luke Garbett, 10 yards from the dead ball line. Good distance on this throw. It's headed back across the face of goal. They try and get a shot in on target, but Graydon was denied, and he's gone down hurt as City try and break. But Longello clears out of play, not too far away from our commentary position, as it turns out. Ryan Graydon is thumping the turf inside the Manchester City penalty area. He tried to get a shot in on goal as the ball bounced about 10 yards out, but I think he caught a Manchester City leg as he tried to get the shot away, and he's hurt himself.
Yeah, that one just under the opponent's boot, where you kick the bottom of the shoe, the boot.
Yeah,
so
it was
painful.
O'Reilly, wasn't it? Yeah. So he stayed down, and that means he needs to get treatment. So in the FA Cup at the moment, it's 1-1 between Burnley and Mansfield, and Norwich and West Brom, and Southampton and Leicester. All those 3 ties are going to the extra 30 minutes at least, as things stand. Not here at the Etihad, where it is Manchester City 1, Salford City 0. Nearly 73 minutes gone here on Talksport 2. But if it was 1-1, amazingly, you wouldn't be that surprised.
Well, you won't back against it at this point, because as this second half has gone, really, they've given as good as they've they've received as Salford. They've been brilliant. Really took the game to Man City.
Well, he's sitting up now, Ryan Graydon. And now Carl Robinson's got his arm round Osama Ashley, who's just come on for him as a substitute. He's having a word with 3 or 4 of his players on this near touchline. I think he wants to make more changes, actually, Carl Robinson. I think he's having words with 1 or 2 of his players. And one final roll of the dice with, quarter of an hour to go, Neil Redfern?
Yeah, plenty of time, really, to find the equaliser. City making another sub.
Well, Rodri's coming on. Just Rodri, that's all.
Yeah.
To try and repel borders. I can see a shot of Paul Scholes in the crowd.
See, this is all credit to...
enjoying what he's doing.
This is all credit to Salford, bringing all the big hitters on.
Sheffield Wednesday 1, Millwall 1. Cole McGee with an own goal puts Millwall level at Hillsborough. Maybe that unbeaten run is not going to end today for Sheffield Wednesday. Graydon just coming off the field, but he looks in a little bit of anguish. He might be able to return. Meantime, it's a straight swap in midfield for Manchester City. Nico Gonzalez off and Rodri on. And that's well received by the locals around here. Such a big influence, Rodri. They did miss him when he was out with that ACL injury.
Massively. Not only his ability and his awareness and his and his understanding of what Pep wants, but his physical presence as well. I mean, you look at him now; he's a colossus.
He is a huge presence in that midfield. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Millwall 2. 2 goals in 2 minutes for Millwall. Macaulay Langstaff with the second to turn things around for Millwall at Hillsborough. Given away by Manchester City as they tried to fire the ball out to the right-hand side of Makaidu. So we are less than a quarter of an hour to go now on Talksport 2. Manchester City, well, I wouldn't say hanging on at 1-0, but not completely convincing at 1-0 either.
I've been disappointed with them second half.
Or steps out from the back and wins the ball. Graydon, who's back on the field, couldn't control it as the ball came across his body from left to right, tried to chest it into his own control, but couldn't do so.
I tell you what, that lad's worked his socks off. Graydon. He's played that lone striker role now for 70-odd minutes, nearly 80 minutes.
Ollie Turton's ready to come on, is he, for Salford? Well, he had his training top off. He's now just put it back on, but that may just be a temporary thing for the defender. Gahey finds Rodri in the centre circle. Turns and looks for an option. Goes left for Kuzanov, just inside the Salford City half of the field. 14 minutes to go. Rodri now floats the ball out to Makaidu on the right-hand side. Lovely ball, brought down very neatly by Makaidu. Steps in field, rolled back to Lewis. And now O'Reilly takes over in the centre of the half, trying to find Cherky with a through ball. Salford did enough to win it back. And then Woodburn's dispossessed by O'Reilly. Sets Semenyo away. Down the left-hand side, up against Longello. Drives for the byline. Semenyo fires it into the near post and blocked behind by Dorrington for a corner kick to Manchester City. 1-0 they lead.
Yeah, brilliant play by Semenyo. Just realised the space in behind, pushed the ball in and got after it.
Short corner as well for Manchester City. Marmouche gets it back from Cherky, drives into the penalty area. O'Reilly slides in, somehow kept out by the keeper, and the follow-up from Semenyo goes into the side netting. Nico O'Reilly thought he doubled Manchester City leads, but Matt Young had other ideas.
Yeah, I don't know how that's not gone in, Dance.
No.
Just looking at the ball coming across now, whipped in, gets across his man brilliantly. O'Reilly just doesn't get a good contact. Actually, it's the goalkeeper with it.
Barnsley 2, AFC Wimbledon 3. What a comeback from AFC Wimbledon. Marcus Brown at Oakwell. Now Josh Orr has gone. Zach Orr rather has gone down.
Yeah, they don't want to lose this kid. This kid's been brilliant.
Well, I think that's why Turton was being readied, in all honesty.
Yeah.
I think they sensed there might be an issue with him. Maybe winning that challenge against Reinders did him more harm than good. But Ollie Turton and Matt Butcher are being readied by Carl Robinson. Turton, who joined from Huddersfield in the summer, he's a centre half, and Matt Butcher's a defensive midfielder who came from Wickham in the summer.
I tell you what, he's got to be pleased with his team performance, Carl Robinson.
Oh, well, he can be proud as a peacock with this, and so can Paul Scholes sitting in the director's box this afternoon.
I mean, to go from getting done 8 to being 1-0.
Can this have an opposite effect to the effect it had on them last year, losing in terms of their league form?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? I mean, you'd think they'd gain confidence from this. I mean, it ain't done yet neither. I mean, you know.
Well, Ben Woodburn is coming off as the first change to allow Turton to come on. And it might be Orr, who's the other player coming off.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
To allow Turton to. So Turton and Butcher on, and it is indeed Zach Orr, who's just moving awkwardly towards the bench. He's just having a chat with his manager about what the issue might be. But he's putting a shift and a half for his team this afternoon.
Well played, son. Very good.
But he's going to be an impromptu coaching from Carl Robinson inside the technical area. So Turton and Butcher on for Salford, who are still only 1-0 down to mighty Manchester City. Longello inside the City half, trying to work it in field for the Yammies, but it's gone back to the Manchester City keeper James Trafford, who we have to remember kept out that terrific goal-bound effort from Ben Woodburn just before half-time.
Well, that was a save of the game, if we're honest. Brilliant save.
Manchester City have the ball on halfway with Mark Gahey. Just over 10 minutes to go at the Etihad. On Talksport 2, FA Cup Live. West Ham are already through this afternoon, having beaten Burton after extra time at the Pirelli Stadium. Here at the Etihad, another Premier League side 1-0 up, but not bossing it. Certainly not in this second half. And there's Longello trying to prevent Semenyo getting down the left-hand side. Brilliant strength from Semenyo, hauled over by Ross Longello, and an easy yellow card for the referee to give out to the right wing back.
Yeah, it's a silly one, isn't it? Because he's done ever so well. He's got him with his back to goal. There's nowhere to go. Just keep him going that way. You don't need to grab hold of him. And obviously Semenyo feels the challenge, hits the ground, wins the free kick, gets his opponent a yellow card.
Strong boy as well, Antoine Semenyo.
It's like playing with your dad in the garden.
Yeah, no quarter asked or given.
No.
Short free kick, Cherky, left-hand corner of the penalty area, drops his shoulder, plays it across the face of goal, and it's turned in by Mark Gahey for 2-0 to Manchester City. That should seal it for the Premier League outfit. Cherky's ball across the face of goal was palmed out by Young, but straight to Gahey, who was rushing in. He's made it count and just calmed the nerves in the Etihad Stadium. Yeah. It is Manchester City 2, Salford City 0.
Yeah, that's all about the ball in from Ryan Cherky, to be fair. Drops his shoulder, goes past his man on the outside, and he curls it away from the goalkeeper with his left foot, and it just causes the indecision to make him palm it out. And to be fair, who's there? Johnny on the spot. Gay at the far post. We've seen him do that a few times now. Gets in good positions, the big centre-back. It's a great ball in, causes a problem. It's not good goalkeeping, but the ball in causes the issue. Good finish.
Yeah, just palmed out by Young, but Gahey was rushing in behind.
Yeah,
got the all-important touch. And as Manchester City get a second, so too do Mansfield Town at Burnley. Burnley 1, Mansfield Town 2. Lewis Reed gets the goal for Mansfield. A free kick that has put Mansfield fans on the brink of a cup success and a shock at Burnley. Semenyo, meantime, for Manchester City. Gets to the byline, pulls it back across the face of goal. It might drop for Makaidu, it does. Right-hand side of the box, making room for a shot. It's blocked away by Osterfield in the end and comes to nothing. But in the end, Manchester City don't get a shot in on goal, and it's out of play for a throw.
Yeah, the difference Semenyo's made since he's come on, it's causing Longello all sorts of problems. Not a natural wing-back or full-back. Not getting much help out there neither, Ros Longello, but Semenyo's been immense since he's come on.
Well, we're going to see Princewell Ehibachiman coming on for these last few minutes. Norwich 2, West Bromwich Albion 1 in the FA Cup. That's not going to extra time. Ben Cresene puts Norwich back in front. Cambridge 3-1 up against Bristol Rovers now in League 2, keeping their good unbeaten run going. Oldham 1, Fleetwood 1. Oldham equalise at Boundary Park after 3 straight defeats. Jack Stevens gets the goal. But the story of the afternoon is developing at Turf Moor. With Burnley 1, Mansfield 2 the score. Here come Manchester City with 7 minutes to go. Getting into the area, Reinders with a drive across the face of goal and wide. Took a deflection to take it away from the target. To corner kick to Manchester City, who are 2-0 up now.
Yeah, got the bit between the teeth now, Manchester City. Really causing problems. They break so quickly. When they decide to raid, they do it in minimum touches, get bodies round that penalty area as Salford's. It's narrowly wide.
So a corner kick for the hosts at the family stand end. Right-footed in swinger to come from Marmouche. But as he takes it, the referee spots something going on in the penalty area, which he wants to have a word about. So Mark Gahey now has his first goal in sky blue colours, let's not forget. After all of that, having scored a couple for Crystal Palace prior to his big money move. Marmouche with the corner, punched away strongly by Young. Brought down out of the sky beautifully by Makaido on the far right-hand side. Swings in a left-footed ball. Heading up and out by Dorrington. Further cleared by Osterfield, but Rodri just calmly guides it down for Ryan Cherky, who spots Marmouche in a bit of space. On this near side, approaching the left-hand corner of the penalty area. Marmouche plays it back into the square to Cherky once more. Into the area, lovely ball. Semenyo! Off the post and away! Lovely ball from Cherky to find Semenyo, who made an equally clever run down the left side of the box, but his shot hit the base of the post and came back into play.
Yeah, it should be a goal. Times his run brilliantly. Semenyo, it's a great little ball to find him. Cherky, but he's got to be finding the back of the net with that. Good play though.
Marmouche again, left-hand corner of the penalty area. Steps away from Longello, tries to drive, it's blocked by Ros Longello. Shrewsbury 3, Swindon 1. Going to be back-to-back wins for the Shrews. And then that run of 4 straight wins that Swindon have had in League 2. Right-hand side, Makaido plays the ball into the area. Cherky feints to shoot, just holds the ball up, guides it back for Reinders. That's like a conversion in the Six Nations. It's gone way over the crossbar for a goal kick to Salford, who are now going to bring on Ehi Bachiman for Graydon, who's put in a real shift this afternoon for his team. Takes the acclaim of the Salford fans in that top tier of the stand away to our right. And Ehi Bachiman, who's come from Reading, where his brother plays, Kevin, on loan from Southampton. Played at Swindon first half of this season, Prince Will Ehi Bachiman. But he's not got long to show what he can do. 4 minutes of normal time remaining here on Talksport 2. Yeah. Manchester City 2, Salford City 0.
Yeah, if they're going to stay in this tie, they need to score now. Salford just can't see it at this moment in time.
Young with the clearance downfield. Heads go up, flicked on by Turton, but volleyed back into the Salford half by Gahey. Now headed further forward by Butcher, but will be picked up by Rico Lewis. Finds Rodri. Very stylish looking midfielder, Rodri. Which looks at complete control when in possession.
I tell you what, him coming on settled the whole team down. You can see that. And Semenyo.
Semenyo now on this left-hand side, looking to cause Longello problems once again. Fires the ball in field for Cherky. And then a lovely ball from Rodri out to Makaido, right-hand corner of the penalty area. Brings it under control. Rolls it back 10 yards or so for Lewis. Now Rodri again. Turns away from 2 challenges and flicks it out to Makaido on the right-hand side. Bolton equalise at Lincoln. 1-1 there. Sam Dalby with another goal for the Trotters. Remember, that's second against third in League 1 this afternoon at Sinsel Bank. Here's Gahey, who scored City's second. Finds O'Reilly, lofts it up to the edge of the area. Little flick on, might break for Reinders. Can he turn and shoot? He shoots into 2 Salford players who took the sting out of the shot and allowed Young to come out and collect.
Yeah, they've been valiant, to be fair, Salford. They've kept going even though they're 2 goals down. They're not giving up.
Thump downfield for Ehi Bachiman to try and flick on, but there was nobody around him in a white Salford shirt. So it went straight through to Trafford. Falkirk 2, Dundee United 3 in Scotland. And Barrow take a late lead against Colchester in League 2 after 6 straight defeats. Niall Canavan's put Barrow ahead. Manchester City in possession on halfway. passage through to round 5 looks assured now for Pep Guardiola's team. And here's Makaidu, plays the ball along the 18-yard line, looking for Cherky. One back down the left-hand side. Udo trying to make a nuisance of himself, but he's dispossessed by Makaidu, showing great strength down that right-hand side. Cherky jinks his way into the box, a little foot in, puts it out of play via a Salford left boot for a corner kick to Manchester City, and they're not hanging about. They've taken it short to Makaidu on that right-hand side, gives it to Cherky, clips the ball to the far post. He was looking for Semenyo, but overhit it. Goal kick to Salford, 2-0 to Manchester City. Neil Redfern.
Yeah, they're just a little bit big. I mean, they've had a 15-minute spell here, Man City, and that encompasses the goal as well that they've got to make it 2-0, and they've just lifted the game. You know, they've brought the big players on, the big name players, and it's made a massive difference, I have to say.
Barnsley 3, AFC Wimbledon 3. Scott Banks with 3 minutes to go at Oakwell. What a topsy-turvy game that is.
There's no goalies in.
Maybe not. Too busy reading their Pigeon Fanciers Gazette in the goal mouth.
Hey, come on.
Here's Marmouche for Manchester City. Out of play it goes for a Manchester City throw.
You feel for him a bit, don't you, Salford?
A little, yeah. Well, obviously they've given so much to this game and worked incredibly hard to maintain their defensive shape.
Yeah, I think his game plan's been good, to be fair, Carl Robinson. You know, he's nullified him for long spells in the first half. Second half, they took the game to him a little bit.
Well, surely they can take much more heart from this as they go back into their league campaign.
Yeah, this has been a game for Man City. They've had to make changes to get themselves well in front.
Oh, Semenyo just jinks away from Longhello, plays the ball down the left-hand side of the box. Can O'Reilly keep it in? He can. Into the near post. It's kept alive, and then the offside flag does go up as Cherky belatedly puts the ball in the back of the net. Lowly Harrogate, bottom of League 2, have equalised at Chesterfield. They've got their first league win since September last time out, and Tobias Brennan has equalised at Chesterfield. 1-1 there. 2-0 here to Manchester City, and we're into added time.
2 minutes.
Minimum 2 minutes. Thank you, Neil Redfern, doing my job for me. That have been added on by referee Matt Donoghue, and it will be a goal kick downfield as Manchester City supporters start to drift away, heading back for the outer concourses, happy that the job has been done this afternoon, but they've been made to work far harder than they might originally have thought based on what they saw against the same opponents 13 months ago. Rodri heads the ball up in the air in the centre circle, headed back into the Manchester City half. Udo guides it down for Osterfield, and he wants Ehe Batchman to chase down the left-hand side, but it's overhit. Dealt with by the Manchester City back line, and then given away, but Udo can't profit from that, nor can Ehe Batchman. It's out of play for a throw to Manchester City. So in the FA Cup, Mansfield are still 2-1 up at Burnley and heading for a huge FA Cup shot. League One knocking out Premier League on the Premier League home turf as things stand. Whilst Norwich are 2-1 up against West Brom, as we mentioned, Cresani with that late goal. Southampton and Leicester heading for extra time unless things change drastically in the last few minutes of added time at St Mary's. That's 1-1. Manchester City trying to play the ball through the centre for the run of Marmouche. Deflected away and then out of play as the full-time whistle goes, and Manchester City are through to round 5 of the FA Cup, but they were made to work much harder by Salford City this year than they were last year at round 3. They were 1-0 up inside the first 10 minutes when Reinhard Nouri's cross-come shot was deflected past his own goalkeeper by Alfie Dorrington, but that's the way the score stayed until very late on in the game. Pep Guardiola felt he had to make big changes, bring on Rodri and Semenyo and O'Reilly to pep up a Manchester City side that were being pegged back at times by Salford. But those 3 changes made the difference, and Mark Gahey got his first Manchester City goal 9 minutes from time, putting the ball in the back of the net after the keeper for Salford, Matt Young, could only push out across from the left-hand side at the dead ball line. But so much that Carl Robinson and Salford City can take from this in a positive fashion through to the rest of their League Two campaign as they're in the playoffs. But Manchester City have done what they needed to do. They're into the hat for the next round, but by nowhere near as convincingly as you might have expected based on last year's evidence. Full time, Manchester City 2, Salford City 0.
Thank you, Ian. Great stuff. Ultimately, not what Salford fans would have been dreaming of, but they can be proud, Neil Redfern, surely, particularly after that 8-0 drubbing, particularly considering that Manchester City had to bring on some of their big boys. That is going to fill them with confidence heading back into their domestic campaign where they're 6th in the league in League Two, into the playoffs. You would think that an experience like this is going to do them wonders.
Yeah, that's what they're going to take away from this game, to be honest with you. As the second half started to roll on, they were the better of the two sides.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until Pep Guardiola started making his substitutions that they wrestled the game and the initiative away from Salford with the second goal. So they've got to take real heart from that. You know, they've pushed a really good side right through the 90 minutes, and they've had the moments. And you know, it's been a disappointing FA Cup exit, but they played a part in a really good game of football today.
We spoke before the game, Neil, about John Stones, his first game back in 2 months, some good minutes under the belt. He's replaced by Mark Gahey, who gets his first goal in the sky blue. Penny for the thoughts of Thomas Tuchel, who might well be rubbing his hands at the prospect of having a centre-back pairing for England, potentially. I know they've got you've got some good competition there with Conser, maybe Harry Maguire, etc. But maybe rubbing his hands thinking, this could do England some good heading into the World Cup in the summer.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I think Pep's got the best two English centre-backs in the league. You know, I thought he played well, John Stones. I thought he just eased his way through it. You know, he didn't have to exert himself that much. And I thought when Gahey came on, he was part of the revitalisation of City going towards the last 20 minutes of the game. You know, Semenya, Gahey, Rodri in particular, brilliant when he came on, just slowed everything down and knitted passes together, picked passes, just a different quality, mate. And they've gone toe to toe with that Salford, so fair play to them.
Yeah, they should be proud of that spirited performance. Dan, I wonder what you make of Phil Foden's performance. We spoke about him before the game, maybe that he's been sort of the likes of Ryan Shirky, Antoine Semenyo, who came on for Phil Foden, of course hit the post towards the end of the game. You know, maybe he's been overshadowed a little bit by them. What did you make of his performance today?
It was okay. I mean, none of those City players really come out of this 90 plus minutes with any huge credit. I mean, the players that came on did help calm any nerves that were around the stadium. I think with Foden and with others like him, you know, Marmoush had a quiet game. Cherky wasn't particularly up to snuff. I think it's just the fact that Salford had this very, very clever defensive shape set up, plugging gaps, keeping it tight and compressed within the width of the 18-yard box. I think Manchester City's problem was that they didn't use width enough.
No,
they didn't use the wide area. Obviously, they were hampered by Max Lane having to come off early. Makaidu, as an inexperienced kid, got a few touches of the ball, but there were occasions where he was crying out for possession in acres of space and wasn't found. So,
is that credit to Salford, though?
Oh, without question. He's learnt from last year. He's learnt from the experience of getting pumped 8-0. That's not a nice experience for any manager. No. And as we said before kick-off, he tried to watch it back and couldn't do it. Had to turn it off. It was, too many negative vibes. So he's devised a plan with Alex Bruce, and it's not worked in terms of the scoreline because they're out the cup, but it's worked in terms of, I would imagine, giving confidence to his squad. So look, you've just gone toe-to-toe with players worth not just millions, tens of millions of pounds, and you've come out of that with a great deal of credit. Use that going forward. But back to your original point, I don't think Foden was particularly poor. I just don't think it wasn't particularly. It was a meh afternoon for a lot of those Manchester City players, Foden included.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Well, I imagine he's not going to be Neil Redfern's man of the match based on that analysis. So I'll give you a couple of seconds more to think about that, Neil, because time now to pick our man of the match with McDonald's.
Man of the Match on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. The Big Arch is here to stay at McDonald's with its very own delicious sauce. Available from 11 a.m, subject to availability, price and participation may vary.
Right there, Neil. Who we got? I mean, like I said, not going to be Phil Foden, but there's plenty of players out there, particularly Salford players who've played really well. Who was your man of the match?
Well, look, I mean, for all their good play and effort and endeavour, Salford, and I thought they were magnificent. Some great performances. I thought Zach Orr was excellent in midfield, but I just thought the introduction of Rodri in midfield just settled Man City down. It was on maybe 20-25 minutes. But it made all the difference for me. He started switching play, started bringing people into the game, and it led to the second goal. The ball out to Semenya when he cut it back, and Gay finished it, and that was the end of Salford. But he was the architect of all the subs. So I'm going to give it Rodri.
Good decision. And do you know why I think that, Neil? For my money, Rodri has been on the receiving end of quite a lot of criticism around his form. Some people saying that he's maybe past it. I know he's had a couple of terrible injuries, but for me, he's still one of the best midfielders in the country.
Absolutely, that massive. You know, I mean, they'd snap your hand off taking him any Premier League club. Because he makes that much difference. It's just his distances, his timing of his moves, passing range, you know, and he was aware of the problems that Man City were having against Salford, and he solved it.
Yeah, absolutely right. That was our man of match, all thanks to McDonald's.